Thursday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Anthony Staltz. Our guy Grant Francis pinch hitting for Andrew Marsh. No Kerry Davis today. Kerry is traveling again. He's been a traveling fool lately.
That guy, he's all over the place.
But the Bahamas, he was in, I think, Dallas, helping his daughter.
He's headed down to Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Mr. Worldwide.
Yes, he is.
Well, it's Pitbull, but still.
I like CD a lot better. Heck of a lot better. So if he wants that
CD's
Pitbull,
not bad. I used to like when you had the mixed tapes.
No, I'm talking about Kerry Davis.
Oh, yeah, he's
we
great.
call him, we call him CD sometimes. Yep, absolutely. 201, your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. You know how to participate in today's show. Air Comfort Service tax line, 314-399-9646. Also have the
Did you almost give out Stewie's number?
Almost did. Yep. I do that from time to time. Stewie's number is like implanted here.
So
314-324.
I did that one day. We were down at, what is it?
Fit Flavors.
Fit Flavors.
Yeah.
And they ask you for your phone number.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went 314-324, and then the last four digits of my number.
Yeah. Oh, you combined them.
Well, because my actual number has 724. And so I was like 324, and the lady's like, "We don't have you." I'm like, "No, I'm here all the time."
Hey, listen.
Got it.
Jamie Rivers.
No, I was like, "Do you know who that guy is? It's Anthony Stalter.
Yeah.
He's with me."
I want my points here for my smoothie.
Do you guys still ever rattle off the old text line number?
Every once in a while, I still do.
Do you remember it?
65780.
65780.
You can't help him. I wanted to
Wow.
watch Anthony. I wanted to see the hamster just start chugging.
Well, now that he did, though, Grant kind of put the chip in my brain.
It's going to happen today.
I'm sure at some point I will.
Yeah.
Anyways, we appreciate you being here. Snake Pit alive and well. If you want to participate in the Snake Pit, that's our YouTube channel. That's our Air Alliance team YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. And you can always get a hold of us via the mic drop. Completely free, 101 ESPN app. Where is your guys' trust level right now with our Cardinals? Where's the trust level? Because last season they won an 11-3 run. Now they're on a 12-3 run. We know how last season ended up. What do you guys think? Is the trust level higher today than it was a year ago at this time?
Oh, it has to be.
Because we still kind of felt like, well, they can get back into it.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, but the signs were all around us. We just weren't ready to recognize them.
The inches
are all around us. But I don't know why, but I just feel differently about this Cardinals team right now. Last month or beginning of this month, I was like, they're terrible. Mm-hmm. We're done.
Yeah, we're done here.
But
you can go get him now.
They rattle off as many wins as they had, 12-3 in their last 15. They look like a ball club. They're starting to get good performances from their rotation. Gibby had a great start. Lance Lynn is shoving pretty good. Sonny Gray continues to pitch well. Miles Michaelis, I'd like to see him a little more consistent, but then you got Andre Palante, who's introduced himself to the group chat here, and he had a fantastic game yesterday. Can he do it again? I don't know. We'll find out. But then I look at the offensive side, and I don't know if it's a good way or a bad way of looking at it, but I look at this offense and say, it's been managing to score runs without Goldie and Arenado both contributing at the same time.
Yeah.
So Arenado was contributing earlier in the season, wasn't knocking it out of the park, but he was getting on base. He was moving some guys around. Like he was hitting the ball-ish. And Goldie wasn't, like at all. And then it kind of switched around a little bit. Now Goldie's able to contribute some offense, and Arenado he chilled off quite a bit, and then he just now hit a dinger the last game that he played, and so we'll see how that carries over into the next series here against the Phillies coming up. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's the right way to think about it or the wrong way to think about it, that they've been doing this without their two Hall of Famers, potential Hall of Famers, hitting at the same time.
I actually think it's a good thing. Honestly, I think it's good that they're getting contributions out of most of the lineup, because you think at some point Arenado will come alive here. He had the home run the other night, so maybe that'll spark him. But at some point you think that your two top dogs are gonna come around. Now Goldie has been very good since the middle of May, but you're really being, you're leaning on Mason Wynn, you're leaning on Alec Burleson, you're leaning on, he's been in and out of the lineup recently, but Lars Nootbaar. Ivan Herrera has had some big hits at times. I like the fact that you can look up and down this lineup and you're getting contributions from sources that you may not have banked on coming in. I think that's a positive sign, unlike a year ago where we liked the offense we were skeptical about the pitching. The pitching came around in May, which led to that 11-3 run. And we thought, okay, we're going to be all right here. No, you're not, because your pitching really wasn't that good. This year, I keep using the word competitive, but your pitching is at least competitive.
Yeah, and I think, too, like, it's the pitching. Like you just said, you look at last year when that, 12-3 run or 11-3 run came to an end, they were in Cincinnati, and the runs they gave up 10, 5, and 6 runs in those games. They won one of them, but anytime they would win games last season, they would have to outscore their problems on the mound.
Yep.
And this season, you go into Cincinnati after the win streak, you go 3-1-3 with the runs allowed. Mm-hmm. So I think just the pitching in general has you feeling a little better. I don't know if it's enough to completely buy back in 100%, but it's definitely a better feeling than it was last year whenever you were winning games by just outscoring your problems.
Right.
If the Cardinals can stay hovering around 500 or above for the next while, just stay right where they're at. Let's say they can't gain another game on the Cubs or on the Brewers, and they stay plateaued.
Yeah.
How much will it mean to get Wilson Contreras back? Like I was thinking about that on the drive in today. I was like, can you imagine this team right now if you had Contreras in the lineup?
Yeah.
Like, you're hitting well, you're scoring, you're 12-3 in your last 15, but like, my God, would that be like a boost of nitrous oxide?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, he was your best hitter at the time that he broke his forearm. So that would be a huge lift, unquestionably. Can we also set some parameters here? Like, what are we talking about? Like, where's our comfort level with what? Because my comfort level really only goes to, like, the National League wild card.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Actually,
Okay.
However, though, I did put a little money on the Cardinals when I was in Vegas.
Yes, you
I
did,
told
to
you
win the
about that.
division.
To win the Central Division. Now, at that point, they were dead last in the Central Division. So they're creeping up the standings, and I'd like to think they could be competitive for the division. I don't know ultimately if they get there. Now, if the pitching holds, and let's say the Palante experience or experiment goes okay, and then Steven Matz comes back, and whatever they do with that situation, and then Contreras comes back, and they're right there nipping at the heels of the Brewers, like, they have a serious chance to win the division. Again, to make that very clear.
Right.
But right now, as much as I would love to see them win the division, I think more realistic is getting a wild card spot, to which they're they're on the cusp of being back in there.
Yeah, plus, I mean, you look at it, like the Braves at 31-22, the only reason why they're a wild card team is because they play in the same damn division as the Phillies. That's the only reason. Otherwise, that team is loaded for bear, even with the injuries that they have in the starting
You
rotation.
think that division's good?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just checking.
Not as good as the NL Central.
I mean, the Mets.
It's not as competitive as the NL Central.
That's
Anthony.
very true. The Mets are imploding. The Marlins aren't very good. So
The Mets. Steve Cohen, take a bow.
they've got players chucking their gloves into their.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, Jorge Lopez.
I think what's their payroll at right now? Like close to $300 million.
I think they
Yeah, but they're
took a step
still on the
back, right?
hook with some of these salaries because they ate some of the salary.
That is true. Yeah, MLB payrolls. Let's see here for 2024. Quick goggle search here. The Mets are still number one at 307.
307, and you're playing. So Cardinal
Yankees
Nation,
305.
the next time you think just throwing money at the problem is going to help, get a good look at the Mets right now.
So it's really what you're talking about with the Mets, because the active roster, their active roster is actually 6 when it comes to the payroll.
They had to buy players to go away, basically, to trade them.
Yep. Let's see here.
So what's the luxury tax set at? 270? They're definitely in luxury tax.
I thought it was higher than that, but you might be right.
I'm pretty sure they're in luxury tax hell here.
Oh, I'm sure they are, yeah.
Can you imagine being a team that bad, spending that much money, and then getting dinged with the luxury tax?
No kidding.
Sorry.
Yeah, course correct itself here. Anyways, so the Braves, let's just exclude the Braves. The Giants are 29-28, but they just recently had a hot run. Like, they took 2 of 3 at home against the Phillies. They went into New York and had 2 come-from-behind victories when they had no business winning. They're very similar to the Cardinals from the standpoint of, top to bottom, their roster isn't great. The only difference with the Giants is, like, they're loaded with really young guys. Like, they just said, to hell with it, let's bring up a lot of these young players, and they happen to be playing well. But the Padres, from a roster standpoint, they're loaded. The Cubs, then the Cardinals. That's your competition right now for that second wild card. they're all very similar teams. Padres, again, higher payroll. They've got more star players. Giants, more younger players. Cubs, kind of a mix, and then the Cards. So as far as like how much do I trust this team? I do trust this team to not implode like they did a year ago. I do trust this team to be in the wild card mix in the National League. I don't know why I keep saying the National League. It's not like they're going to go to the American League.
It's always fun to clarify it, Anthony.
In the wild card mix all season. That's where I'm going to go for right now. At minus 35 run differential, I'm not going to talk about the division.
Is this team slightly different because it feels like they have better leadership than a year ago? And let me clarify that. I'm not talking about Ollie and Mo and coaches and things like that. The roster overall. Like, this is where the thought process of John Mozeliak here in the offseason, Matt Carpenter, you get even Brandon Crawford. I'm not high on him as a player anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's a little unfair to him. He's like 40 years old or something. Close to it, isn't he?
Yeah, you think he's 38, 37, 38?
He's close. He's closer to the finish line than he is the starting line.
There's no question about that.
For his career, by the way.
Yes.
Let's clarify that.
37.
So 37, but you got Crawford, you got Carpenter, you got Lynn, you got Gibby. Like, you've added some strong voices in that clubhouse. And we poked fun at it, and I know I did, just about the Marp signing and the Crawford signing. But maybe that's what's helped them stay focused during how bad it was to start the season. Because they kept saying, we're fine in this clubhouse. Mm-hmm. We're better than what we're showing. We're not performing, but we're fine. Guys are in a good attitude. Guys are coming to the ballpark, ready to work and all this stuff. Like a year ago, when they were in this tailspin, it felt like nobody liked each other. They hated being at the ballpark. They didn't want to play the games. They just would rather just have the season over.
Yeah.
Yet it felt different this year, even though it was terrible. So maybe that's helped them turn things around a little bit.
Oh, I think that, and they got some youthful energy here too.
But I wonder if those two things are working together.
Maybe, exactly. Yeah, I mean, winning helps. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but they were losing, Anthony.
You're right. But now they got Mason Wynn, some youthful exuberance. You've got some of that veteran talent. So maybe
you got some plumbers that are playing maybe above their level. Sure. Like you look at Ciani.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a thought, and now he's a really solid piece in center field defensively. Mm-hmm. You look at Alec Burleson. A year ago, Ollie read him the riot act on his way out of town for the off-season break. He came back. He's been productive. So Herrera's a young, youthful.
Gorman's had some huge hits, too. Like, if you go beyond the numbers, like, let's just talk about some of the home runs that Gorman has hit in spots. Like the one lefty he took deep to win the one game. I mean, he's come up in some big spots. Yesterday, he hit the home run there when it was, it was 1-0 at that point, and then Gorman made it 2-0, 3-0, whatever it was. Gorman has come up with some big-time home runs. Like, that power has shown in key moments. So, you're right. You got kind of a mix here. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. How are we feeling about Jordan Walker at this point? Would it be better working out some of the issues at the big league level? Talk about it next on 101 ESPN. Fastline on 101 ESPN. So how are we feeling right now about Jordan Walker? Would he be better off working out his issues at the big league level or staying in the minors? We got a question similar to this, I think a couple of days ago, where a texter said, hey, would now be a great time to bring back Jordan Walker? I don't think so. I think you allow Jordan Walker to continue to season in the minor leagues. He did not have a full AAA season. He went from AA, made the roster last year out of spring training, went back down to AAA for a short period of time, and now he's been in AAA for what? Almost a month?
22 games.
There you go. So, to me, if you don't need him, and right now you don't, I would continue to let him work at the big league, at the minor league level. Right now he's hitting .278. He doesn't have a home run at the minor league level this season. He has a 6.7 walk percentage. He has cut down on the strikeouts based on where he was with the Cardinals earlier this year. It's 15.2% compared to 26.9%. Otherwise, again, he's hitting the ball on the ground consistently, but he's not, to me, based on these numbers, he's not ripping the cover off the ball. There's no reason to bring him back up.
No, I agree. So when he was sent down to the minors, here, if I pull it up, he had a 50% ground ball rate at the time. And here's where we're at now. Actually, let's go over Major League Baseball level. His line drive percentage was 4.8%. 50% ground ball percentage. At the AAA level, his line drive percentage gone up to 19.2%, but still 42.5% ground ball.
Yeah, so
it's improved slightly.
It has. So it's actually 22.2% now if I'm looking at the updated stuff.
Oh.
40.7% for ground ball. So the line drive rate is 22%. What did you say a league average was?
I didn't have league average.
Oh, I thought you said you had a league average. My bad.
I'm giving you all I got here, Anthony.
and you're doing a great job. The Cardinals, when he was with the Cardinals, his line drive rate was 4.8%. It just can't happen, man. You can't continuously put the ball on. I don't care how hard you hit the ball. You can't leave it on the ground at the major league level and be productive. People kept focusing on the fact that he was getting hits in his short period of time last year before he went down to AAA. That's fantastic. They want him to be an overall hitter. And the ball's not going to sneak through the infield consistently for you.
Not at the major league level.
At the major league level.
No.
He's got to hit more line drives. Line drives lead to doubles. Line drives lead to the power. Forget just the pure home run stats. Line drive rate cannot be at 4.8%. No. So now that's up to 22%. That's great. At least he's showing some marked improvement.
And he's striking out a lot less, too. We saw what it looked like here at the major league level when he was reaching for that low and outside pitch. I mean, It was just like textbook picking this kid apart. Mm-hmm. At the time that the article was written that I'm reading from, his strikeout rate in the majors was 26.9%. And in the at AAA, it's 15.6.
Right.
At the time that this was written. So I don't know. You may have the updated ones there.
What do you want, the K and the strike, the walk percentage?
Yeah.
Walk percentage right now is 6.7%.
Okay.
15.2% strikeout.
All right, so it's the same.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, again, do the Cardinals need him right now? No.
Well, obviously,
the offense is rolling.
If he can't contribute,
they don't need him.
If he can't bring the offense with line drives and being able to move guys around the bases, you don't need him defensively.
Right.
So, why are you pressing? We get a couple of people here in the snake pit saying, well, if we don't need him now, when will we actually ever need him?
You will. You will at some point.
When he develops into a major league player, the frame that he has, the athleticism, the power, just the raw ability alone is going to put this guy in a position to help your ball club.
Right. I mean,
not every player that's a top prospect at 21 years old or 22 now. I think he just had his birthday.
Yeah.
At 22 years old, steps into the majors and is an all-star.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
And I guess the line of thinking maybe from some of the people in the snake pit is well, you're right. You're a 500. You're a 500 team. Why wouldn't you just bring him up? When are you going to need him? You will at some point. You're going to have injuries. You're going to have somebody that just gets on a cold streak, and he gets on a hot streak, and then you bring him up. But I think that despite what he did a year ago, and I thought he had a very good season last year at the big league level. I mean, he had 116 WRC plus. I won't bore you with the rest of the numbers. Jordan Walker was a productive player last year at 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I am surprised he's back down in the minors, but clearly some of the things that he was working on in spring training did not click. And maybe he's fallen back on some bad habits, and he's ironing those out. I think he's fine.
Out a ton, Anthony.
Right.
Like
you can't have that many holes in your swing.
He looked like he was taking at bats on one foot. His balance was off. He was reaching constantly. You could tell he just had lost his confidence, almost guessing at what the pitcher's throwing.
Yeah.
It didn't look good. He needed to go down and reset at least a little bit.
Well, and where I kind of stand on this, and DJ Pattycake said it in the Snake Pit, it has only improved because pitching quality went down. He's learning nothing down at AAA. So I guess my concern with this would be, okay, if he does figure things out at the AAA level, he's not seeing the same quality of pitching as he would at the major league level. So is it just going to drop back off if he does end up fixing things at that level?
So that part about him not facing the same level of pitching that they brought up in the Snake Pit, that's irrefutable. You can't. They're right. But Jamie, let's go back to your career.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything in the minors?
Oh yeah, a ton. I mean, the more, like I said yesterday, I think it was more playing time. Your power play, penalty kill. I know hockey that's different, but it's the plate appearances, the batting order for Jordan Walker, and even though the pitchers aren't as good, they're not dotting the corners of the plate like some of the guys in majors are. What I've learned over the course of the last 4 to 5 years in particular is that hitting is as much between the ears as it is anywhere else. And if Jordan Walker was guessing at pitches and just swinging at flies when he was up here because he'd lost total confidence and vision on, or lost his approach to his at-bats, that's the best way to do it. You send him down, and the purpose is to put him against lesser pitchers. That really is what you're wanting to do, is for him to gain confidence, to make contact, to have hard hit rate, get that line drive percentage up, so that some of the good habits that he creates down in AAA that make him successful, now when you bring him back up, he's reestablished what's been working for him. Will he ultimately have great success right away? I don't know. Will he still have a better eye for some of the pitches at the major league level? I don't know. But he did okay last year. Nothing great, but did okay last year, which leads me to believe like it's there. He just somehow lost his way between spring training and the beginning of the season this year for the Cardinals, and maybe he expected too much from himself. Who knows what pressure he was putting on them?
Yeah, the other thing here too, and I'm just going to state the obvious: you're trying to win games. You're trying to win games right now, so you can't have somebody. And I realize they're a 500 team. This is not a rebuilding team. If he were in the White Sox organization, he should be playing every day, and you kind of use the big league level as also a developmental opportunity for Jordan Walker. But this is St. Louis. They're not in rebuild mode. They try to retool. You don't sign Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn not to try to compete for the division. Try to bridge the gap between where you were last year and where your minor league pitching is right now. You're trying to win. And if you got a guy like Jordan Walker who's struggling, then you put him back in the minors. That's your developmental opportunities. At some point, we will see Jordan Walker, though.
Well, he will, for sure. He's so young, guys.
I do not doubt that for a second.
Old. He's 22 years old. Like, pump the brakes, man.
Yeah, I agree.
He never really played at AAA level either.
He didn't. Yep, exactly. He played that short period of time last year and now back down there now. What's trending is next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Hey, when it comes to working with the best for your roof or any roof issues, why don't you give my friends at the Happy Roof a call right now at 314-665-3001? Because if you went through the recent hailstorms and you've got damage with your roof, if you call today, the Happy Roof Company will have someone to look at your issue within 24 hours. Maybe you got an old roof, though. Maybe you're tired of looking at it. Maybe you want to sell your home and you want to make sure that you increase the value of your home and you want to put a new roof on. Great. The Happy Roof Company, they have residential and commercial roofing. They've got the 10-year labor warranty on all shingle roofs, and they have detailed inspection reports for real estate transactions and great relationships with realtors. So, again, if you're selling your home and you want to make sure that the warranty is there and you can present that for the buyer, Happy Roof Company, they got all of that covered for you. A-plus rating with the BBB, great relationships, as I mentioned, with the realtors, up-to-date product knowledge, and they have free estimates with competitive pricing, as well as the cost-effective solutions on both flat roofing and metal roofs. HappyRoof.com, 314-665-3001. Tell them Stalter sent you. It's the Happy Roof Company.
Grant Francis here with a SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Yesterday, the Cardinals picked up another win and won the series against the Reds. 5-3 the final. The big story, Andre Palante with a nice game for the Cardinals. Went 6 innings for the Redbirds. Tonight here on 101 ESPN, we will have Rangers and Panthers. That Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Series tied at 2 games apiece. Pregame will be at 6:30 right here on 101 ESPN. I'm Grant Francis. The SportsCenter update's been driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
All right, time for what's trending here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Grant Francis stepping in for our guy, Andrew Marsh. What you got, Grant?
Yeah, guys, so last night in the Western Conference Finals, Oilers and Stars Game 4. Stars were up 2-1 in the series. and it looked like they were going to be up 3-1 for a little while. They went up 2-0 early in the first period, but Edmonton rallied back and ended up winning that game 5-2 to even the series, going back to Dallas for Game 5.
Yeah, I thought it was over. I sat down to grab a little bite to eat last night out for dinner, and the TV was on in the bar area, which was perfect because I could see it. And I blinked, and it was 2-0 Dallas. I was like, oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
First shot on goal, they scored. I go, oh, boy, Stuart Skinner's going to have a tough night in Edmonton. But the Oilers, this is why they're dangerous. They have so much firepower, and they just came roaring back into the game. And I think it's important to note, too, that Tanev, for the Dallas Stars on defense, he's out. He took a shot in the foot, and they're not sure about his availability moving forward. But he's been instrumental in playing against McDavid and Draisaitl and in the really tough matchups. And he's nullified those guys quite a bit, as much as you can.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in the game last night, and I feel like Edmonton went to work chipping away on that Dallas defense core. But, man, what a performance. They made it a hell of a series now. Now it's a race to 2.
Yeah, no kidding. This series, I think, has been more competitive than what I thought it was going to be, quite frankly.
Me too.
I thought Dallas was going to kind of take care of business. But how much of that is because we've seen Edmonton get to this point before and fall flat? And I agree, and I still think it holds true what you said the other day, Jamie, in that you look at Dallas, they've got more depth overall. They don't have McDavid. They don't have Leon Draisaitl. They don't have Zach Hyman. They don't have Evander Kane. But what they do have is an excellent defensive core, Jake Ottinger behind you, and more than enough scoring depth. The roster is more complete. Yet, this Oilers group, after years of trying to get to this point and succeed at this level, they're finally starting to do so. And how great would it be for the hockey world if Connor McJesus wound up competing for a Stanley Cup?
It certainly would be ideal.
I would say so too.
It would be more ideal than the Dallas
Stars,
yes,
right?
I would agree to
No
that.
offense to Jamie Benn and company.
Did you see Jake Ottinger's stick make a save last night without it being in his head? I don't even know. I don't think it was going in.
He made a save, and the stick fell behind him,
Yep.
and then he lost sight of the puck and ends up going to McDavid, and he redirects it to the net, and it hits the stick that's laying on the goal line.
He knew what he was doing. Ottinger knew what he was doing.
Honestly, I don't think it was going in, though. I think it was going to hit the post anyway. Still cool, but I don't think it was going in.
Tough call. Tough call.
Well, going to the MLB, something a little crazy happened yesterday with the Mets. Shocking. They will be cutting reliever Jorge Lopez after he threw his glove into the crowd after being ejected. His quote after the game was, "I don't regret it. Whatever happened, happened. I'll be here tomorrow if they want me, whatever they want to do." And he's not there anymore. So,
Yeah, so this was an interesting development, to say the least, is the Mets are terrible, and he did not have himself a great outing. And as he was coming off the field, he just lost it and threw his glove up over the foul ball netting into the stands.
Yeah.
And then he went on to say those things, and then he said something about the Mets being the most effing terrible team in Major League Baseball.
And then he tried to clarify and say I was the worst. Yeah, I was the worst teammate. Okay.
Yeah. But so here's a little bit of background on that. Is I did some digging, and I'm not saying it's directly correlated to his behavior yesterday, but I'm sure there's a slice of the pie that makes it important.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, his son is very ill and is awaiting some form of a transplant.
Oh boy.
And so you can't say it directly affects him, but let's be honest, you're a father. I'm a father.
Him.
Grant, you will be at some
says.
point in your life, I would imagine. And when you have kids like that, or if there's a niece, a nephew, whatever, it wears on you. And if things are going bad for you, it's amazing how that stuff just boils over. Yeah. So I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack when it comes to some of that. But to the Mets' point, you just can't have that. And maybe there's more. If that's what we see, what goes on in the clubhouse? What has his attitude been like in the bullpen? Is he putting in the effort? Maybe he isn't. Maybe it's the best thing is for him to find a new place to play baseball and start fresh.
Well, he's been in the league now since 2015. The numbers, he's bounced around a lot. His numbers aren't great at all. I did not know about that aspect of it, Jamie, what you're talking about. I'll just give you a brief anecdote, man. My son, Killian, now is 6 years old. He's healthy. He's thriving. He's good. He's a great kid. When he was born with a complication in his stomach. Long story short, anytime we'd give him the bottle, he would throw it up like exorcist style, puke all over the room. Went to the pediatrician. Pediatrician's like, you can change this, you can change that. Okay, we did all that. Poor kid wasn't getting any food because, as we know now, he needed surgery to correct it. As it turns out, he got a blood infection from it. So he was at Children's for 15 straight days. My wife, Chris, and I kept going back and forth to the hospital. She was there during the day. I tried to be there at night. I'd take the weekend shifts. She would take the weekday shifts. But I couldn't focus.
No.
You can't focus. You can't function. Yeah. You're there, but you're not, So I feel for Jorge Lopez if he is going through that. You're right. The Mets got to do what they got to do. But, I might be chucking my glove, too. Because you're just not thinking, and you're fed up, and you want to be angry, and you can't help because he's just,
Yeah. And you're not playing well, and maybe it's in the back of his mind that they were going to DFA him anyway.
Sure.
And now he's really frustrated because he's got all sorts of crap going on on the field and off the field.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's a tough one over there, but a little bit of a lighter-hearted one. But speaking of throwing things into the crowd, in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final between the Rangers and the Panthers, Chris Kreider and Matthew Tkachuk got into it a little bit, and Kreider threw Tkachuk's mouthpiece into the crowd. And post-game, Tkachuk said after he did that, he said to Kreider, it was the best play he made all game.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Look, Matthew Tkachuk, man, this guy just, watch him. He surgically tears apart teams. He finds their weakest link, their weakest moment, and he goes after it. You watch him in the very first series this year, or especially, how about the Boston series? Let's just go there. The Bruins, he knew exactly what he's doing. He started bumping into Swayman, saying things to him, and then he targeted Pasternak, their best player, beat the wheels off him, gave him an extra. And he knew, like, the cheap shot at the end, it's not like he lost control. No, that was calculated on purpose so that, one, Pasternak knows that, like, you're not safe. You fall to the ice, he's still going to punch you in the face. And then to stir up the whole Bruins bench. That was a cheap shot. You don't hit a guy when he's down. And Matthew's like, okay, yeah, come on. Because the more you're trying to kill me and get at me, the less you're trying to score goals and make the right plays.
Yeah.
And the higher the percentages, you're going to do something stupid and take a penalty or make a mistake, and we're going to score. And the same thing has happened in this series. Matthew Tkachuk just starts to go after certain. He went after Rempe 2 games in a row. Like, slashed him, hacked him, went after him at the end of the game. And all it was to do is to show the Rangers, like, dress this guy. I don't care. Nobody's afraid of him. I'm not afraid of him. He's not going to get me off my game. In fact, I'm going to go after him.
Yeah.
And then he goes after Kreider. Kreider does grab the mouth guard. Now, I did find out it didn't clear the glass. It did not clear the glass. The mouth guard hit the glass and fell back onto the ice.
Which makes it even funnier.
Well, which would have been funny. The funniest part of it would have had it cleared the glass, Kreider would have got a game suspension. They implemented that rule a long time ago when there was a fight and a guy pulled a guy's helmet off and threw it into the crowd. And then, people are not very, they're not going to just give it back. They're trying to make it to the door. The security guards are going and whatnot. So now it says in the NHL rulebook, if a player throws a piece of equipment from the opposing team, it's a game misconduct. So Kreider would have been booted too, which would have been really funny. And Matthew doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Right.
But yeah, Matthew Tkachuk is not just one of the best players. He's one of the best psychological players in the NHL too.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. There's no doubt.
One more thing I wanted to get to here on what's trending, and it's a tradition in the MLB that's been happening every season, and that is Tyler O'Neill going back on the IL. After a series in Tampa Bay, he played 2 games for the Red Sox and finds himself on the IL again.
Look, this is what we talked about, Anthony. When people started to text in and chime in and say, oh, look, sure, of course, he goes to another team and he's going to be an all-star, an MVP. And we here on the Fast Lane, in particular, kept saying, just give it time.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. And it's not because we don't like Tyler O'Neill.
Right.
It's just that his body is very susceptible to injuries. And now he's got this knee inflammation. And to your point, Grant, just a couple of games following the Tampa Bay series, which, by the way, Anthony, what do the Rays play on?
They play on turf, Jamie.
Yeah. And by the way, Anthony, When did Tyler O'Neill take days off last year for the Cardinals?
That'd be the Tampa Bay series.
Why is that?
Because they play on turf.
There you go.
They don't want to play on turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We kept saying this. We kept saying just give it time here. Make sure that you realize that the Cardinals just started to trust what Tyler O'Neill was telling them, which is that he's not a durable player. And yeah, he came out of the gates on fire. But we called that too. At one point, I said he's going to have a stretch. I didn't think he was going to be right out of game one, but I said there's going to be a stretch where he's going to hit a bunch of home runs. He's going to remind everybody what the talent is.
Yep.
But then he's going to go on the IL, and that's exactly what happened.
It's his second stint.
The
yes. First one was mishap. He ends up crashing face first into a teammate,
Right.
Gets cut open. Maybe got a concussion from it. I don't know.
But
Otherwise,
still something always happens,
yes.
right?
And it's weird stuff with Tyler O'Neill. It's weird stuff, and you're just like, why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, no, I want to stress, I like Tyler O'Neill a lot. We've had him on the show. I like him as a person. It's got nothing to do with that. But I always thought the Cardinals did the right thing. Not the right thing, quote unquote, but the smart thing to just move on and allow Tyler O'Neill to go to another place and show what he can do at another place, which is hit a bunch of home runs and make a bunch of trips to the injured list. And that's what he's done thus far for the Red Sox. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. There was a deal that was given out today in the NFL that is kind of interesting from a roster building standpoint. We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
What if I told you that I could get your home sold very quickly? You could get the cash and stay in your home for up to 12 months while you find or build your next home. Well, that's what Gloria Liu is doing with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And she eliminates some of the traditional hassles of buying and selling at the same time. And she's got some great options for you. One of her best options is the guaranteed sales. And all that is Gloria Liu sits down with the home seller, and you guys agree upon a sales price, and then Gloria Liu goes out and she sells your home for that price, or she buys it herself, and she guarantees all of that in handwriting. And why does she sell it so fast? Because she has thousands of buyers that are able to purchase your home in her database. And that creates a lot more traffic to your listing, maybe multiple offers. That drives up the price. And she gets you to the closing table, which is the biggest thing. So please take it from me. Call Gloria Liu. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you in. Her number is 314-325-6888. Again, that's 314-325-6888. Or you can visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree upon the sales price as well as the possession date.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Jalen Waddle got himself a new contract today from the Miami Dolphins. And look, I'm not going to go over all the details. He's going to be one of the highest paid receivers in the league.
70-some million in guaranteed money.
That's how it goes, right? The next guy gets the next guy that's great at his position is going to get the highest deal, or right there. That's how the market goes typically. So this is not a is Jalen Waddle worth it conversation. I think it's interesting though, Jamie, when you are the Dolphins, you invested the 6th overall pick in Jalen Waddle in 2021, I believe, 21 or 22. He has panned out. He's had 3 consecutive years of over 1,000 yards receiving. You pay him, right? It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dolphins are built the opposite of the way Bill Walsh used to build, which is from the inside out.
Explain that.
Start with your quarterback, obviously. Quarterback, nobody's going to argue this. Start with your quarterback. You build your offensive line in front of them. Go to the other side, you build your defensive line. And then you can start to add your running backs, your linebackers, your secondary. Last was wide receiver. We all remember Bill Walsh having Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice was the last piece. Made everything kind of come together. His thought process was, if you give a wide receiver a bunch of money, or he's a true number one, your whole offense then has to revolve around him because he's going to want the ball. All true number one wide receivers are divas.
Yeah, they're cookie monsters.
They want the ball, man.
Blum, 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 blum.
They're always open, like you say. They're always open.
7-Eleven.
Triple covered. Doesn't matter. I was open. Where's the damn ball?
That's Brett Hull.
Absolutely.
You were covered. I scored 400 covered.
Just feed me the puck.
Yeah.
Just feed me the ball. So his thought process was, again, you don't build your offense around the wide receiver. But we have seen teams do this. We have seen teams build from the outside in. We've seen some teams have success with it. The Bengals are this team. The Bengals had, Jamar Chase, and they've had T. Higgins.
But they also had Joe Burrow.
They also had Joe Burrow.
Almost put to death in his first season with that offensive line.
Jamie, the Colts, they famously did this too. They had Marvin Harrison. They had Reggie Wayne.
They had Peyton Manning. Yeah.
And they always lost to, yes, Tom Brady, but they always lost to a team that was built from the inside out.
So how much of a bad decision is this then for Miami?
So that's what I want. Here's the conundrum for you, right?
For me personally?
Not for you. You in general.
I like it when you put the pressure on me.
Here's the conundrum, Jamie, for you specifically.
Because I'm running the Dolphins.
I want you to explain this to me, all right? You did draft him in the top 10. He has worked out. You're not going to trade him. You invested him. You thought, like, this is the way we're going to go. Tyreek Hill became available. You traded for Tyreek Hill. Gave up a penny for him, too. This is your offense. This is the way your team's built. Mike McDaniel, kind of the crazy scientist, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is your team. I don't think that they're going to win anything significantly of significance. Yet, if you're going to go this route, you might as well pay the 3 guys, Waddle, Tyreek Hill, eventually Tua, that are going to give you your offensive identity. Does it make sense? Like, I wouldn't do it this way.
Yeah.
But the Dolphins have a clear identity, and they're going to play to it.
Well, I think that they're kind of forced into this decision.
They forced themselves into it.
They did, but they're still forced into it nonetheless, whether it was by design or just it happened because they did it to themselves, because they drafted Waddle and then traded for Tyreek.
Right.
And drafted Tua. Now, do they go get these wide receivers to make Tua's life easier? Because he is an accurate passer, but he's not a strong passer.
Yes.
And
short to intermediate, man. He's very accurate, short to intermediate.
And so do you, by design now, if you're the Dolphins, say, we need really good receivers that run routes really good? Because if he's accurate and he's hitting the timing right, we need receivers that aren't leaking in their patterns. They're very good at route running.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the design that they think is going to make them successful.
Right.
and then they're going to skimp somewhere else
Yep.
and hope for the best.
On defense, they're going to skimp. They're going to have to.
But what's their salary cap hit right now? Where are they at?
Let's see here.
Like, how much wiggle room do they have? Can they still?
They're not paying Tua, so right now they're okay.
They got one more year of Tua before they have to pay him?
Yes.
Then
So,
that bigger question is, are they going to pay him? Like, do they believe in him enough to pay Tua?
or can you find any quarterback in the short to intermediate game?
See? You're right there. You're in my brain right now, Anthony. That's what I'm thinking.
Scary.
Is one of these young quarterbacks that's going to be available via the draft. Like, what about Deion Sanders' kid?
Shador.
He throws the ball pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. You could plop him in Miami.
You know where the Dolphins are at right now?
Where?
Again, they still have to pay Tua. They're 27th, and they are over the cap by $27 million. They are over the cap by $27 million if Spot Track, or however they say it, is accurate.
So they've got work or restructuring to do.
Big time. Yeah. So, again, the conversation isn't whether or not Jalen Waddle is a good receiver. It's not a conversation about whether or not he deserves the money and all that stuff. The conversation is this the smart way to build a roster? Because I don't think so. I think there are tried and true methods. Like, you always have tweaks, but there are tried and true methods in the NFL, and they all stem from Bill Walsh. He built the roster with the 49ers in an uncapped league, so that's different, right? But we've even seen teams like the New York Giants win multiple Super Bowls because they constantly invested in their defensive line. They had an area with the most impact covered. And people were crushing them because they kept taking defensive ends, like, oh, they already have a defensive end. You can never have enough defensive ends. You can never have enough pass rushers. And the Giants knew that. They won 2 Super Bowls because of it.
Can the Dolphins do that, though, now, in reverse?
I mean, I think you can. But you got to be invested in it.
Yeah.
Like, who did they take in the first round this year? I probably should have looked this up before.
Oh, yeah. I actually was just talking about this.
Yeah, you were.
Day.
I know you told me.
Yeah.
But I forgot the name, and I appreciate you allowing me to look this up because it's kind of like your kids, like, hey, look it up. So
I'd like you to learn, one, how to find the information.
Chop Robinson.
There you go.
So maybe they go that route. Maybe they pivot now. And they say we're going to have to get young on that side of the ball.
Players that we don't have to pay on the defensive side.
Yeah.
It's risky.
It's interesting. It's fascinating on 101 ESPN. All right, we got to get to our guy, Craig Berube. Chief is going to join us next. He became the newest head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we have a great relationship with him, and we thought you'd love to hear from Chief before he heads to Toronto. That's next on 101 ESPN. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN 301. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter, and let's head to the 101 ESPN Celebrity Line, where we are honored to be joined by our guy, Craig Berube. Chief, thank you so much for joining our show again today. We certainly miss you, but congratulations on becoming the next head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Miss going on every week with you boys, too.
Chief, let's dive behind the curtain a little bit, because you had a lot of opportunities. At least you had some interviews with some other teams, and then you get the job in Toronto. What was it like, the 2-3 weeks leading up to you accepting the job in Toronto? Because it had to have been pretty hectic.
Well, I mean, I was talking to teams, and then obviously Toronto stepped in. They made a coaching change, so they reached out, and it was actually pretty quick after that. I went in and met with them, and for a couple days, and it was pretty much done by the end of the week. So they jumped on the decision, and it worked out great for everybody, in my opinion. I was very thrilled to first, get the opportunity to interview in Toronto and get the head job. It's a great job. Anytime I think you can get a hold of a team like Toronto and work there, it's a thrill almost of a lifetime. Toronto Maple Leafs, a team that I watched growing up, a ton, obviously, and it's a great market.
Chief, do you think Shanny was so eager to give you that deal because you beat the wheels off him?
I don't think that was the reason.
I'm just playing. We obviously.
I'm sure he beat the wheels off me a couple times too.
I don't know about that. Buddy. But
I had a lot of battles with them Devils guys back in the day.
Brendan Shanahan was my first fight in the NHL in training camp here in St. Louis.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I didn't finish third, so that was positive.
Yeah.
Hey, Chief, you played for the Toronto Maple Leafs as a player. Now you're back there as the head coach. How much different is it going to be?
Well, I think, it's going to be a lot different as a player. You're focused on your play and what you're doing as a player, as an individual for the most part. When you're the head coach, you're in charge of all these players and the team's play, and there's a lot going on. Like I said, it's a big market, and it's a lot to manage, but I'm ready for it. I'm thrilled to be the opportunity to go and do it. They got a bunch of real good players. We all know that. They're always right there, knocking at the door. We're just going to keep pushing here and try to get to another level. Is the way I'm going to use, and it's a process. It starts in the summertime here with myself getting to know these players and players being prepared for training camp and going forward.
Craig Berube joining us right now in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Chief, how's it been dealing with the Toronto media? Because I know you enjoyed us knuckleheads here in St. Louis, but that's a different ball game, as you know, and you played there, but now have an opportunity to coach there. It's going to be different.
Well, there's a lot more media for sure. I only did the one press conference and a couple of radio stints there, but it was all fine. But we're not playing games yet, or nothing's really going on. But yeah, it's a lot more to deal with in terms of that. But I coached in Philly too. It's similar to how the media works. It's part of the job. If you're gonna take that job, then you know what you're in for. So I'm prepared for it.
Chief, I watched your press conference when you were introduced as a head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you touched upon the partnership and the relationships with your players. And there's a photo that's out there now. I'm sure you're aware of it, being in the Toronto media and all that stuff, of you sitting down with Mitch Marner and having a discussion. Is Mitch Marner the first of many guys you're going to sit down and talk to? And when you have these talks with the guys, like, what's the focus of the conversation at that point?
Yeah, no, I think I've met with guys, and I'm going to meet with more guys, down the road here. First, it's, getting to know the player a little bit, personalities. We don't just talk hockey, we talk life. And then, talking hockey too, like what his thoughts were on the situation there, what's going on. There's a lot of things you talk about. I think once you get going, the conversation goes a lot of different directions, I just want them to know, be prepared, what I want, how I want to play the game, and some things that went on that maybe, I could change as a coach for them. I don't know what all went on there, so I'm just trying to get to try to know the situation.
So, like you just said, you weren't privy to the conversations and the meetings that went on behind closed doors and in the locker room and whatnot. But I know you, Chief. I know you watched their games, and I guarantee you've watched a lot more since then, just getting ready for this opportunity. From the outside looking in, just looking at the hockey side of it, what is a couple of things that you've noticed that they could tweak a little bit to be more successful?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I thought they were close this year, against Boston. That series could have went either way. They were dealing with some big guys in and out of the lineup during that series, but they played pretty well. I mean, you get a break here and there, and they're moving on to the next round. Like, in the playoffs, you got to have some breaks to go your way too. I believe that. I truly believe that. But And there's areas that we can clean up too, and we could be a little bit better at that watching. I think there's areas we could clean up. My style, I want to be a heavy team. We want to hang on to pucks. We want to be detailed and structured in how we're going to play the game. So those are the focuses that I'm going to start with.
Hey, Chief, we're going to have the We Win Blues Day coming up here with the obviously celebrating your 2019 triumph here in St. Louis. I know it's very difficult to just choose one moment, but if there's any moment from that Stanley Cup run or even the parade, anything that stands out to you the most when you reflect back on it, what would it be?
When the buzzer went in Game 7 and we won.
It's pretty simple.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm sure for you, you didn't want to put the cart before the horse ever.
Yeah, no, I never did. But also I think there's too many moments, guys, to pick. Like that parade was unreal, obviously, and there was a lot of great moments. It's stuff that you'll never forget because you can't forget that kind of what happened and what went on. So it was all great stuff.
Chief, I have a memory from that, too. It won't be the parade because I barely remember the parade. But my memory from that run was the way you and the team, specifically under your leadership, handled the hand pass goal against San Jose. For me, I feel like that set the standard for the rest and that you guys were not going to be phased. I mean, looking back now and you think of that play, how much of a big moment was that for you?
Well, that was huge. I mean, I think though, going into the playoffs, that was our mindset as a team, is not letting the noise get to us, being composed and disciplined, and that was a part of it there in that situation. Instead of, going in and complaining about it with the media and everybody else and worrying about what happened, we moved on from it. And I got to give the team credit because that's not easy to do for players. They were really extremely upset, but they handled it really well. And I thought they moved on, and we went into the next game, and we ended up winning that game and come home and beating San Jose out. So, that was a key moment for sure, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. Chief, a couple more things here before we let you go. Again, thanks for your time. You had a brief stint doing some TV out there. TNT, I saw you on the panel. You did a great job, specifically breaking down plays that were happening in the games. How did you enjoy that?
It was good. I thought it was fun. It was something different. Kind of kept me in tune a little bit and doing something. And, I enjoyed the guys I worked with there. It's a great group of guys. TNT is a first-class organization. They treat you really well. And, I enjoyed it. It was good, really good.
Chief, when you have the earpiece in, I'll never forget the very first time I did TV. I didn't know they were going to talk to me or tell me what camera or how long to go. And when they started talking to me, I paused. Like I thought somebody else was talking. Did that mess with you at all when they're talking to you?
Not too bad. I mean, it's pretty free there. You kind of roll with what you want to do. But Liam McHugh does a great job, and he kind of cues you up really well all the time. So, when you got a guy like that running it, I mean, it makes it pretty simple.
Yeah, you're right. Last thing for you, Chief, before we let you go, is I talked to the people over at the Hive, and they said that we could go there, have dinner, and that you could just call in with your credit card.
I think I canceled it.
Oh, no, come on.
Of course.
Chief.
Of course.
Call up Jimmy O'Brien. He'll take care of you.
Oh, I know he will. Don't you worry about that. Chief, hey, thanks a lot for joining us here today. I know life has been crazy for you. I wish you and your family nothing but the best. Hopefully everybody's happy. I'm sure they are. Good luck with the team, man, and can't wait to see what you do with that talented roster.
Thanks, buddy. Take care, guys.
You got it, man.
Take care, Chief. Thank you. That's Craig Berube here in the Fast Line on 101 ESPN. An absolute class act. He was the same guy to us, whether he was losing or he was winning. Yeah. He was always so open and direct with us and honest with us. And I mean the day that we did the show after he was let go, man, I was furious.
We all were.
And I know you did a great job of kind of saying, hey, okay, well, we got to push the ball, we got to move the ball forward here a little bit. But one of the reasons why I was so ticked off was just how, great he was to us and how great I know he has been to his players and everybody in that St. Louis Blues building. But, hey, you move on now. Drew Bannister did an excellent job last year, and hopefully he gets the Blues back on the right track, and it's going to be interesting to see what Chief does in Toronto.
So Chief brought up something really quick before we break about playing in Philadelphia. And the media in Philadelphia they're hardcore. There may not be as many in numbers as in Toronto, but there's way more bravado in their questions. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that really helped Craig Berube be ready to do the media side of things, because when he was here in St. Louis, he was so good. And like you talk about, there's days where you don't want to be doing media. You lost 4 in a row. Your team's blown 2 or 3 leads. You think you want to jump on the fast lane and giggle it up? No.
Right.
But he came on, and he always had great interviews for us. And I think that the one thing that people don't realize about Craig Berube, truly, is how smart he is. Because you watch him with questions that paint him into a corner or questions that are not desirable. He does a masterful job of answering bits and pieces of it, staying in his lane, and then at the end of it, you've gotten yourself a really good answer of not much.
Yeah.
And then he'll cut it short sometimes without being rude. So he is prepared for this gauntlet that's going to be the Toronto media. And I think what they're going to love about Craig Berube is just how honest he is and how direct he is. And some days will be shorter than others, but they'll leave there thinking to themselves, well, hey, that's our guy. That's our coach. Just like we did here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So I think the opportunity from a professional standpoint for him as far as coaching and media and all that is fantastic. But he's also got an all-star roster. Mm-hmm. And he's already talking to these players and getting them ready and making sure that they're ready to play the structured game that he wants and all that. It's going to be fun to watch what they do.
No doubt about it. So we wish Chief nothing but the best here from the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. All right, John Mozeliak had some comments on ownership that we wanted to dive into. That's next in the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Hey, when it comes to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they've got over 700 vehicles all in one location. Whether you're looking for a brand new Nissan or maybe you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle like a different make or model, Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they've got you covered. They got their May Day deals going on right now. You can take advantage of several different incentives on new Nissans, including no money down, no payment needed for 3 months. 3 months of no payments, I should say. No down payment needed at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Up to $5,000 off MSRP on new Nissan models and 0% off, 0% APR on payment terms all the way up to 84 months. So when we're talking about Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, yeah, you're going to find the right vehicle. Yes, you're going to have the convenience of having the vehicles all there in one location out in Herculaneum, one dealership. You don't have to drive around the greater St. Louis area looking for your next new ride. No, one spot, over 700 vehicles. But they also have, at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, complimentary lifetime warranty on all new Nissans, complimentary 1-year maintenance, and the 30-day return promise, on top of the fact that they will give financing options for everyone. Good credit, bad credit, it does not matter. Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they know that if you need a vehicle, they will figure out a way to finance the vehicle. And a lot of times, they'll do so at a rate, a monthly payment, much lower than you thought was possible. So head out there, tell them Stalter sent you. When you do visit the dealership in Herculaneum, check them out online at autocentersnissan.com. It's Fastline on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Graham Francis pinch hitting for Andrew Marsh today. Kerry Davis is got the day off today and tomorrow. John Mozeliak chatted with Martin Kilcoyne. The Kilcoyne. What's it called? The
Kilcoyne conversation.
Thank you. The Kilcoyne conversation.
Should be called the Killer conversation. I told him that. Didn't listen.
He's funny. Martin Kilcoyne's funny.
He is a smart ass in a very great way.
Big time. You wouldn't think that sometimes when you're watching him on TV. He absolutely is.
He's awesome. He does a lot of those roasts that we have here.
Oh, he did. He was
there for my night.
Yeah, he hosted yours. Yeah. And that was actually my first shot was at Martin Kilcoyne because, and I kid around with him. Sometimes I'll see him at the MAC and I'll kid around with him. But when I first met Martin, he said, "Hey, Martin Kilcoyne." And things, all right. So, boom. I think he was at the Rams game. And the next time I said, "Hey, Martin, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, Martin Kilcoyne." So that when we're doing your roast that time, I said, "Hey, there's Martin Kilcoyne." I just re-met him for the first time again. But he's a great dude. So, anyways, here's Mo. Here's John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations, with Martin Kilcoyne. And some comments about ownership that Jamie and I wanted to dive into, but here's the audio first.
Yeah, I think that question comes up a lot, and whenever I answer it, I get in trouble because, no, we're not being complacent. No, his desire to win is more than ever. He's not afraid to pick up the phone and ask me questions. He's not afraid to challenge me on things. And so, we are trying to get this right, but I think people have to understand baseball and managing rosters might not be as simple as, picking out your kindergarten kickball team. There's challenges and there's contracts. So we're trying to navigate that as best we can, but I assure you we're trying to win.
Sounds like John Mozeliak was taking a bit of a shot at us. Not us personally, but Cardinal Nation.
He seemed a little more agitated.
Now that they're winning again.
Now that they're winning, he's got a little bit more agitation to his voice. And the last time we did the whole the Martin Kilcoyne conversation, there was a little bit more. He was a little bit more contrite, I felt. A little bit more.
That he basically said it's not as easy as just going on be a GM mode on your video game.
Right. Okay.
He's not wrong with what he's saying. There's a lot more that goes into it.
Well, I'm sure for him, he does get tired of either answering those questions or hearing fans say that they're not trying, that they are complacent. I have never said that they're not trying.
No.
I can separate the two things in terms of them generating profits for their company and also trying to win baseball games. Like they can do both. We as fans, we don't give a crap about the profitability of the DeWitts. We don't care about their bottom line. When you're worth, I think, $4 billion or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We don't care. Just put the best product on the field. That's how we look at it. My beef with the front office has always been you're risk averse, man. If there are two options and one is slightly risky and the other one is, it's 60-40, 60 safe, 40% risk. You're going to go the safe route, typically. 9 times out of 10, you are going to go the safe route. You're going to go the predictable route.
Do you think that's a John Mozeliak thing or that's a DeWitt to John Mozeliak?
Yes. I think it's both. I think the DeWitt set the budget, and I think Mo within that budget will look at what the market is, we'll look at what his trade options are, and he'll look there and say, okay, this one, I like the floor. I think Mo operates with the floor in mind, not the ceiling. I think when there's a trade to be made, he looks at it and says, what is the worst thing that could happen here? What is my floor? As opposed to what is the ceiling?
Yeah.
And I could be completely wrong with my line of thinking on this. He's been he's run this team for a very long time. I'm an idiot on the radio, right? But for me, Jamie, if I'm looking at it, the top of my roster has got to be about the ceiling. The bottom of my roster, or maybe the middle of my roster, should be about the floor. Brendan Donovan is a player. It's like, okay, Brendan Donovan's a perfect type floor player. I know at the very least Donovan's going to give me this. I know at the very least Edman is going to get me this. But when you start to go to Tommy Edman and Brendan Donovan, and it's like the entire roster, like, okay, we got a whole roster of floor players. Where's the ceiling? Now they're starting to mix in Mason Wynn. We'll see about Jordan Walker, right? Like there are some of those players starting to come in. But I'm sure, going back to the audio, Jamie is probably sick and tired of answering the questions about whether or not they're trying, whether or not they've got the right payroll and all that crap.
Well, it's insulting. Let's just be honest.
Sure.
If you're driving around right now or you're sitting at your office or whatever you're doing for work or employment, if you're out there grinding every day and you got somebody else in a different field that basically says, well, you're not trying.
Right.
He'd be like, you know what? Blank you.
A-hole.
Well, yeah, I've been up since 5 a.m. and I don't shut the mill down till 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
Blank you. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying. So I can see why he would be a little bit perturbed by people that just consistently criticize him. But you know what, Anthony? It comes with the job.
Absolutely.
When you're a public figure like that, whether it's, media, politics, pro sports, entertainment industry, when you're a public figure, you are definitely more open to scrutiny by the public. And especially when you're in a place like St. Louis, with the Cardinals specifically, where we take our baseball very seriously.
Sure.
And we have been very lucky and fortunate to have the second best franchise ever as far as World Series championships are concerned. So, sorry, Mo, it comes with the territory, and you don't have a perfect report card. You don't. No GM does either, though, by the way. But we don't care about that because it's all about the Cardinals for us here in St. Louis. But I think that it's interesting to – I think it would be more interesting to have a very open discussion with John Mozeliak about the relationship with the owners and what their actual directives are each year, how they determine the budget, how much do they discuss overall the signings of players or trades before they happen, how involved are they as an ownership group.
Yeah.
To me, that's the stuff that intrigues me because that's the stuff that can truly tell you how you should evaluate your president of baseball operations. Because if he's been giving marching orders to stay below a certain amount of money on the payroll, and then but he's also been giving marching orders to go find pitching, but don't spend too much,
right?
Then he's handicapped. He's literally been handicapped, and then he's got to go do the best he can with the budget that he has, and then he's the one, that's standing at the press conference answering the questions.
Jamie, you own multiple companies. I'm sure you would love to have state-of-the-art whatever for synergyhockeyskills.com. Mm-hmm. Whatever that may be, whatever, I'm sure you would love to provide X, Y, and Z to your employees, to the players. You're working within a budget. You want to make money,
because
certainly.
We want to be profitable.
You want to be profitable. It's like you're a company.
Not a charity.
Exactly. So you're working within your margins. Now, hopefully, what you have done, I'm sure you have, is you started off at a certain budget. That budget has grown, more profits, and you pour more into it, but you're still making a profit. So the Cardinals have done the same thing. It's not like they got the same payroll since the 90s.
No.
But I think where Cardinals fans get ticked off is, and maybe we kind of flow into the same line of thinking here, is that it does become kind of this this risk averse. Everything is just about the safest deal. And ironically, the one time they really kind of stepped out was the Ozuna deal, because the Goldschmidt trade, the Arenado trade, I think most GMs would have made those deals, right? Like they didn't give up. They made the deal. Like Mo deserves credit for that. But I'm saying in terms of compensation, most probably would have given up what the Cardinals gave up. But the one that you get a little upset with is the Ozuna one. So he steps out and he winds up giving up two pitchers that could be in this rotation right now if they were healthy. And that's the one you say, okay, what happened there? So, anyways, interesting stuff there from Mo. Have we given enough credit to the front office for improving the pitching? We'll talk about that next on 101 ESPN.
Grant Francis here with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. A nice win for the Cardinals yesterday as they are back at 500, 27-27 on the season. They win the series against the Reds. They win yesterday 5-3 after Andre Palante went 6 innings, only allowed 3 hits, 3 walks, 0 earned runs. The Cardinals will be back in action as they kick off a series in Philadelphia with the Phillies tomorrow. First pitch will be at 5:40. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, we'll have some NHL playoff coverage for you. The Eastern Conference Finals, Game 5 of a tied series 2-2 between the Rangers and the Panthers. That pregame will start at 6:30. I'm Grant Francis. The Sports Center update has been brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Have we given enough credit to the front office for improving the pitching? Jamie, I don't know what you think about this, but I do. I think that we've looked at where this team was a year ago. We didn't love the moves of Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn, but we liked them, and we really liked the Sonny Gray signing. So I do think that when we look back at where we were in the offseason, yeah, I think we absolutely have given enough credit to the Cardinals for their pitching moves.
Well, I think now we have. I don't think early on we did.
For the pitching? Yeah.
I don't think anybody was thrilled that they signed both Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson.
Sure.
I think people were fine with one of them and then go get something better. So we've got to be honest. I know personally I've been critical of it, but the reality of it is that they at least addressed the rotation. Did they address it enough? No, of course not, because one injury has you sideways now to where you've got Liberatore or Palante. You're not sure what you have for your 5th spot. So you probably should have gone out and gotten a little more. But that being said, internally when you look at it, Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson have been better than Miles Michaelis. So Michaelis, who was supposed to be your number 2, is now your number 4. And that wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
You're supposed to have a more competitive number 2 in Michaelis, and then 3 and 4 would be Lynn, Gibson in any particular order that you want. Or quite honestly, I think some people thought Steven Matz was number 3 and that Kyle Gibson or Lance Lynn would be your number 5. But they have, in my opinion, they've exceeded expectations. Lance Lynn's had a couple of blow-ups, and Gibby had that one game where it didn't go well for him, but he wore it and stuck in there for 6 innings anyways.
Right.
So are we satisfied? I'm happy with what they've been able to do, but I'm still critical of the front office for not going and getting more. I don't mean like a Jordan Montgomery or a Blake Snell. I'm not even talking about that. Go get me another number 3 starter somewhere, even a number 4 starter, and add them to this rotation. Just in case.
Yeah. And
they didn't, and now you're sitting there with every 5th day, you're wondering what the hell you're going to get. So that's where I am on it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, see, we got a comment in the snake pit that I think a lot of people would agree with. They said, I was okay with the Lance Lynn signing. The Kyle Gibson one was a head-scratcher, but it's been better than expected. Even if you want to flip that, even if you want to say I was okay with the Kyle Gibson signing, but the Lance Lynn one was a head-scratcher. It goes back to what you're saying about adding 2 guys, veteran pitchers, on 1-year deals. I think that was more about what they had in the minor leagues than anything. They didn't want to sign a bunch of guys to 3-4-year deals, then have it blocked like Steven Matz wound up being, So it really is about signing the right players. I'm good with 1-year contracts. You know that.
Well, they're 1 years. It can be 2 years, both of them.
Sure.
So it's club option, I believe, or they can pick up the next year. And I actually think that part was genius. The genius part of it is that what if Graceffo, McGreevy, Hance are not ready? Or what if only one of them is ready? Now, as an organization, at least you have the option of retaining either both Lynn and Gibson or one of Lynn and Gibson.
Right.
To me, that part was a success, the way they built the contracts.
Sure, because now you can look at it and say, where are we in the minor leagues? Are 2 guys close? Are one, are three guys close? Then you can make that decision. So
no guys are close.
No guys are close, then you probably, if Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson can continue to be competitive, you probably bring back both guys.
Yeah.
Or one, and then you sign. You see what's available in the free agency. But Steven Matz, he's going into his final year.
Next year's his final year.
Yeah,
and I don't even know how many games he's pitched.
Out of Cardinals uniform.
I mean, not otherwise, but in a Cardinals uniform, year 1 was a wash. Year 2 was a wash. Year 3 is turning out to be a wash. Mm-hmm. We'll see if he's able to come back and be effective or not. So I guess I shouldn't say it's a wash yet.
Yeah.
Up to this point, it's been unproductive, year 3, for Steven Matz wearing the birds on the bat. So we'll see ultimately. You
know what's interesting as we talk about this, Jamie? One of the things that I feel like you and I wind up saying a lot, and I wonder if listeners do the same thing, it's, you know what, it's worked out. Yes, it's better than expected, or it just hasn't worked out. Like, that's about it. Which goes to show you, at some point, they have to develop these young guys. You want the fastest track to being where the Braves are, or I don't know. Name one of the teams in the American League that you really like. If you're the Phillies, you're spending a bunch of money. If you're the Dodgers, you're doing a combination of spending and developing. But you want to be on the fast track back to being a legit pennant contender. Have a bunch of young, cost control pitchers that are aces.
Well, that would be
not
nice.
Aces. I don't mean aces from the standpoint of like ace of the rotation. I mean like they're good. They're excellent.
No, I know, but even that's wishful thinking. I mean, every team would love to have that.
Sure, and some teams
feasible.
do. Some teams have that.
Some
young
teams
pitching.
have lucked out,
or they've developed.
Or
those
they
guys.
have. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But ultimately, what I'm saying is you have to get off of the. It's been pretty good. It's been better than expected. You have to groom young pitchers. And until the Cardinals get back to doing that, we are going to have conversations that are similar to this. Kyle Gibson's been pretty good for you. You're going to go into, if you do make the playoffs at some point, you're going to go into a playoff series where you are not going to have, at least on paper, the better pitching.
No.
And then it's like, okay, let's see what this offense is. The offense going to come alive this time or not? So hopefully the future is Tink Hence and Gordon Graceffo and whoever. Because if it's not, I do wonder if they have to open up the checkbook a little bit more to bring in pitching that is going to solidify this rotation, which is something they don't want to do.
No,
they're very uncomfortable with that.
They don't. And I don't blame them. Actually, I don't blame them. If you look across the board, some of the biggest money that's been thrown around on pitching is on the IL right now, or will be.
Yeah.
And imagine sinking 25 to 30 million into a pitcher per season, and he pitches a couple weeks and done.
Yeah.
Now you've got to go back to the pocketbook or the trade market and re-up your rotation while eating 25 to 30 million for that year,
right,
or even plus.
That's going to be tough. Yep.
It's tough. So, I don't know I don't know ultimately what the solution is, because it's almost like I feel like it's inevitable that injuries are going to happen. But that's why I go back to my original comment. My statement was the depth. You have to get deeper with your pitching staff. Mm-hmm. And some guys may have hurt feelings that they're the sixth man in the rotation, and they'll be coming out of the bullpen, but then after the bullpen session, going right back out to the bullpen and throwing more to stay stretched out.
Yeah.
You're getting paid to be in the major leagues, man. If you come in for 1 inning or 2 innings and you got to go pitch 3 or 4 more back there in the bullpen, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't care.
Yeah. All right, it's Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stelter's Fast Line on 101 ESPN. Is Alexis, you're going to have to help me with the last name.
Alexis Lafreniere.
There you go, the young kid for the Rangers that eventually developed. Is he an example maybe for Kyrou for the Blues? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. So, Jamie, you were talking about a couple of days ago when we had this conversation, Alexis Lafreniere, who was the number 1 overall pick for the Rangers. He kind of took a long path to where we are now, which is he's having an excellent playoff series. He's been a catalyst for the Rangers this postseason. A big night was a game 3 or game 4 for the Rangers. I think it was game 3. He had a couple goals. Anyways, he's had a great postseason. So the question that we proposed today is Lafreniere a kind of a example for Kyrou. Now, Kyrou wasn't a number 1 overall pick, so the skill set might be different. But the point being that, when it comes to Jordan Kyrou, I think there's some frustration here in St. Louis that he hasn't developed into the player that's going to meet all the expectations for us, for the fan base, and maybe even for the team. Is there a connection there, you think? You know more about Lafreniere's background.
Yeah, so give a background. Alexis Lafreniere was the first pick of the Rangers, I believe, in the 2020 NHL draft. And he played with the Rangers right away. 56 games his first year, 21 points. Nothing to brag about.
Yep.
Next year, 79 games, 31 points. Nothing to brag about. Last year, or the 22-23 season, 81 games, 39 points. He's had a rough go to start his NHL career. But I believe he's just now 21 years old, maybe 22, depending on where his birthday is. Doesn't matter. Very young player. And he was a goal scorer coming into the NHL as a point producer to a good team, which was the Rangers, and Gerard Gallant was the head coach. Mm-hmm. The problem with Alexis Lafreniere is he didn't have any real grit or defense to his game.
That's a problem.
Sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
So he learned a lot of hard lessons in his first 3 years with the Rangers. And I don't think he was a favorite of Gerard Gallant, which it happens sometimes where the coach, it's not that he's not the favorite, maybe the coach just knew he had to be harder on him to develop the player. Well, this season, it started last season a little bit. He ended up with 16 goals, so he's tickling that 20-goal-ish mark last year. 28 goals this year. And he ended up playing a lot of the season on the first line with the Rangers. But his game overall has evolved. He runs around, he finishes hits, playing pretty good defensively out there. But his grit factor has gone, north. He gets to the front of the net. That's where he scores his goals now, in and around the blue paint. He plays a pretty heavy game down there. But it wasn't until he expanded his 200-foot game that he had the success that he's had, and nor did he have the trust of the coaching staff. Mm-hmm. So Peter Laviolette now comes in and gives him a little bit more responsibility. Let's go back a little bit. Before the season started, people thought that the Blues should be in on trying to trade for Lafreniere, because they weren't sure if he was going to be an actual piece of the puzzle for the Rangers going into this season. Rangers held on to him, and obviously Laviolette and Chris Drury, the GM there, felt like there was something worth holding on to. So they held on to him, and it's paying off now. He had a really good season. He only ended up with 57 points in 82 games, but still a better season. In his postseason now, he's had, 13 points already in this postseason, I believe, in 14 games so far. So the comparison that I'm drawing here, or the line that we're drawing to kind of compare Lafreniere to Kyrou, is it takes time. It takes time to evolve into that NHL player that you can rely upon in all situations, including the playoffs. And yes, Kyrou's older, but he's only played 50 games more than Alexis Lafreniere as far as regular season games are concerned. And I think that you have to look at the young players, give them time to develop, and before we start to eliminate them from what you think they can't or what they can be, let them try to figure it out a little bit, and good coaching certainly helps that along the way. And the player has to wear it too. Like Lafreniere did a lot of work in the video room, did a lot of work in the off season. Jordan Kyrou is going to have to do the same thing. He's going to have to take very seriously if he wants to become that next level player.
Do you think, too, it has to do something with just a change in, and of course, this is not at all a negative statement on Craig Berube, but do you think there's anything when it goes to a change of voice, a change of message for a player like Lafreniere or Kyrou? Because, I mean, with Lafreniere, Gerard Gallant was his coach at first. They didn't really get along too well. He was, scratched a couple times, healthy scratched, and now he's finding this success under Peter Laviolette. Do you think there could be any similarities between, if Kyrou starts having success under Bannister, do you think having a different voice helps sometimes?
Sure it does, depending on the player's personality. So let's go back to Lafreniere's personality as he came in as a rookie. Was not that he was fragile, but, he was the best player in junior, the number one pick. Like, why is the coach yelling at me? Why does he not like me? Why am I not playing? All things about, what's the coach doing wrong? Mm-hmm. Not necessarily about, what am I doing wrong? What could I get better at? And it was easy to point the finger at Gerard Gallant, old school guy, very much like Craig Berube. I played against him. He was a tough son of a gun out there, and he played that in-your-face kind of hockey, and Lafreniere is not that kind of guy. Wasn't, anyways. He's evolved, certainly, over the last couple of years. But, yeah, a new voice can help, for sure. Peter Laviolette's a brand-new voice coming in there, looking at things a different way. I'll tell you who's really helped Alexis Lafreniere is a guy named Mike Peca. Mike Peca, you might remember him from the Islander days. He was a teammate of mine in junior hockey. I played against him in the NHL. He was one of the best 200-foot forwards in the game at one point, playing for Buffalo, the Sabres. He had a long tenure there before he went to the Islanders. And Mike Peca has helped him a lot. I know this. I've talked to both Lafreniere and Mike Peca this year. We played against the Rangers and just talked about their growing trust between coach and player and how he's been able to put more on the plate for Lafreniere because he trusts him more. So that's important, too. So Drew Bannister is a really important piece of the puzzle, but so is Steve Ott, so is Mike Weber, so is Michael Babcock. All the coaching staff together, their responsibility is to extract the most that they possibly can from each and every player. And specifically the young, talented players, how can we make them better? How can we trust them more? So, yes, a different voice can help for sure because it's almost like a restart to where you get that brand new energy poured into the player to where maybe the coach before just had no more energy left or not enough or the player just stopped listening. So it's always good to change it up a little bit.
What you're saying is it's kind of a combination of things, really. You're talking about a player maturing. You're talking about a player maybe understanding a lot more that he needs if he wants to be an NHL player or a Major League Baseball player, NFL, whatever it is, he needs to pour in more work. Like the light bulb came on for him. Mm-hmm. Then he needs to have a coach that maybe doesn't know his history and is not, as you just noted, Jamie, frustrated and maxed out. Because you know how it is. Sometimes you're a coach, you're a parent, you're a teacher, whoever, and you're like, you know what, I've done all I can here. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And somebody else comes in and is like, all right, I'm going to try a different approach here. Probably won't work, but let me just try this.
Let's just try it.
And it winds up, that clicks. And it could also be an environment thing. I remember, Geno Smith. You talk about comparison to different sports and stuff. Geno Smith would drafted by the Jets in the second round. Not really a high draft pick. He's with the Jets, not a good organization. Spent some time there, and he goes to the Giants, and lo and behold, he gets with Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, and he was there for a while. Yeah. They trade Russell Wilson, and they say, all right, Geno, let's give you a shot. Perfect situation. He's matured as a player. The other guys are believe in him. Pete Carroll, kind of perfect voice for him. Winds up getting a good contract out of it. So it can happen, but I do think you're right, Jamie. It winds up being a combination of factors.
The last thing I'll say about it is Jordan Kyrou takes a lot of heat from the fan base here, and justifiably so on some nights or some occasions. But we just talked about Alexis Lafreniere, who was a first-round pick, and his highest point total is in the 50s. Mm-hmm. Jordan Kyrou is a 70-point guy. Like for the last 3 seasons, he's been in and around 70-plus points per season. So you have a very offensively dynamic hockey player. Does he need to work on the defensive side of the game a little more? Yes, absolutely. But let's not forget that he was a second-round pick as well. So the Blues did a great job of finding that talent. Now it's up to the coaching staff and the player, probably mostly the player, to expand that game now and go from just being a dynamic offensive guy to being a very reliable player in all situations.
Well, and to add on to that just a little bit, like Alexis Lafreniere being on the best team in the NHL this season, one of the teams that has been one of the best in the past few years, it's a little bit easier to maybe develop around that kind of an environment. And obviously your stats aren't going to, like, he's not going to be a minus 30 in a season because he's got players around him that are going to pick him up if he slacks a little.
Yeah, I agree with that. Very much so. And we got one more thing that I'll answer before we go to break. From the 660 says, Devil's advocate here, but why would Kyrou want to do any of that hard work? He already got the contract.
I mean, pride, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're counting on at this point. And you have to, as a fan, you have to realize that to become a pro athlete in any sport, it takes a level of compete that's not normal. It takes a level of compete that the ordinary person doesn't understand. And although Jordan Kyrou's compete level may not be where you want it to be for the defensive side of the game, he's always had to outcompete every player on the ice to score points and to create offense. So he does have a very high compete level, and that's what you're counting on at this point. You're counting on his compete level to ignore the contract and go out there and continue to try and be a better version of what he currently is. Will that happen? To be determined. To be determined. But when you talk about the contract, you're right. He has been paid, and now he has to produce. He's producing offense like an $80 or an $8 million player. Now we got to expand that a little bit more for his all-around game.
Jamie Rivers, Grant Francis, Anthony Stelter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 to ESPN. We got the Gauntlet next, and Grant, we got a new Gauntlet contestant, right?
Yep, we do. He's already ready. I'll have him on.
All right, there you go. He'll take on either Jamie or me next here on 101 ESPN.
warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
The Gauntlet is powered by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit mastor.com.
Time for the Gauntlet here in the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN 402. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter, and Grant Francis pinch hitting today for Andrew Marsh. And Grant, I think we got a special snake pit contestant for the Gauntlet, right? Who we got?
Yep, we got DJ Patty Cakes on the line.
DJ Patty Cakes, what's up? Oh. You there, DJ Patty Cakes?
Yeah, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Appreciate you stepping in from the snake pit to challenge either Jamie or I today.
Hey, I appreciate having me on.
All right. So, DJ, who are you going with, Jamie or me?
Let's go with one of my favorite hockey players of all time. Let's go, Jamie.
There you go.
Wow.
All right. DJ Petticake's taking on Jamie
DJ.
today. I don't think Jamie was prepared for that.
No, I thought he's going to go for Anthony, but I appreciate the compliment, and I wish you nothing but the best, DJ Patty Cakes.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. DJ, go ahead and tell Grant to spin that wheel.
Spin it.
What are you hoping for, DJ?
Anything but soccer.
Anything but soccer. All right. So no random.
No random.
All right. Grant, you got the wheel in front of you. Who do you got?
Yep, it's not random today. How do you feel about baseball?
All right, not bad. I can hang.
There you go. So baseball, I believe Jamie just lost in baseball, if I remember correctly. So, DJ, you already know because you listen a lot, but for those that don't, and those are maybe not aware, every question will be baseball today. You and Jamie will get the same 4 baseball questions. Each question is worth 2 points unless you ask for the options, and then those questions become worth 1 point. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, DJ, here we go. Yesterday, the Cardinals notched a 5-3 victory over Cincinnati, which hasn't won 90 games since the 2013 season. Who was that team's leading home run hitter with 30 bombs? So who had 30 home runs for the Reds in 2013?
I guess give me the option.
Sure. Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, or Joey Votto? Gonna go with Votto?
Yes, sir. Final answer.
All right.
All right, question 2. In which state is the Little League World Series played every August?
In Pennsylvania.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, Pennsylvania. Did you say state, right?
Yes.
Okay, Pennsylvania.
All right, DJ, question 3. The Cleveland Guardians currently hold the American League's best record at 37-19. Name their staff leader in wins. Who's got the most wins for the Guardians pitching staff?
For this year?
Yes, sir.
What's my option?
Your options are Tristan McKenzie, Shane Bieber, or Logan Allen. McKenzie, Bieber, Allen.
Allen. Yeah. I'll go Allen.
Final answer?
Yeah. What was the options again?
Tristan McKenzie, Shane Bieber, Logan Allen.
Give me Allen. Give me Allen.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, last one for you here. Dennis Eckersley compiled 390 saves across 20 big league seasons. With which team did Eck retire?
What was his name?
Dennis Eckersley.
I need options on that one.
All right, was it the Cardinals, the Red Sox, or the A's?
Red Sox?
Was that final answer?
Final answer.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome back, Jamie from the Cone of Silence. Grant, you may need to flag him down. DJ, how you feeling?
Pretty good. I wish I didn't need the options on a couple of them, but I'll take them.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let's see how Jamie does today. He's walking back in from the Cone of Silence. He was just chatting with our guy, Mike Ryder.
Took his time.
Took his sweet-ass time, that's for sure.
Mike and I were having a good conversation, guys.
What are you guys talking about in there?
I can't talk about that on the airwaves.
Can't divulge.
Yeah, it wasn't anything wrong.
It's Jamie's world. We're just living in it.
That's true. Yeah.
Thank you, DJ Patty Cakes. I appreciate that.
Jamie, your category today is baseball.
Oh, I love baseball, Anthony.
Yeah, Grant, go ahead and tell him.
Yeah, you can pack a lunch.
Oh, gosh.
Here we go.
Great.
Question number 1. Jamie.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the Cardinals notched a 5-3 victory over Cincinnati, which hasn't won 90 games since the 2013 season. Who was the team's leading home run hitter with 30 bombs?
What year?
2013. Who led the Cincinnati Reds in 2013 with home runs?
I have an idea for real, but I'm going to take the options.
Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, Joey Votto.
Okay.
Not who you were thinking.
No, there's two of the guys that I was thinking of. What year again? 2013?
13.
I don't think it was Votto. I'll go Jay Bruce. Final answer.
All right, in which state is the Little League World Series played every August?
Oh, boy, you think you'd know this one, right? It's Pennsylvania, isn't it? Anthony?
We're asking you the question.
I know. I'm going to shoot my shot. Pennsylvania, final answer.
Question 3, Jamie. The Cleveland Guardians currently hold the American League's best record at 37-19. Name their staff leader in wins.
Options.
Tristan McKenzie, Shane Bieber, Logan Allen. McKenzie, Bieber, Allen.
It's not Bieber. McKenzie, Bieber, or Allen? I don't really know much about McKenzie. I'll go Allen. Final answer. What a rough couple days.
All right, get it together here before the last question.
Okay, all right, sorry, Grant.
Dennis Eckersley compiled 390 saves across 20 big league seasons. With which team did Eck retire?
Oh, my. Options.
Was it the Cardinals, the Red Sox, or the A's?
Red Sox, final answer.
All right.
Exhausted.
Let's go over these. DJ Patty Cakes versus Jamie Rivers. Here we go. Dennis Eckersley, also known as the Eck, compiled 390 saves across 20 big league seasons. With which team did Eck retire? DJ Patty Cakes, you said the Red Sox. Jamie, you said the Red Sox. Correct answer is...
It was the Boston Red Sox.
But both of you use the options on that one, so we get a 1-1 tie. The Cleveland Guardians currently hold the American League's best record at 37-19. Name their staff leader in wins. Jamie, you said Logan Allen. DJ Patacakes, you said Logan Allen. Correct answer is...
Well, he's got a 6-2 record, a 4.89 ERA. Logan Allen.
But both of you needed the options on that one, so we got a 2-2 tie. 2-2 tie. In which state is the Little League World Series played every August? Jamie, you said Pennsylvania. DJ Patty Cakes, you said Pennsylvania. Correct answer is?
Avid watchers of the Little League World Series. It was Pennsylvania.
Neither of you needed the options on that one. So we have a 4-4 tie. Comes down to this question. Question number 1. This is the only question that you guys differed on.
Oh, God. Was it Joey Votto?
Please.
Yesterday, the Cardinals notched a 5-3 victory over Cincinnati, which hasn't won 90 games since the 2013 season. Who was that team's leading home run hitter with 30 ding-dong Johnsons? Jamie, with the options, you said Jay Bruce. DJ Patty Cakes, with the options, you said Joey Votto. This is how it's going to work. If it's Joey Votto, DJ Patty Cakes wipes the floor with Jamie today. If it's Jay Bruce, Jamie squeaks by DJ Patty Cakes
I
today.
see how you're doing it. Okay.
Come on, do I have a mop?
Oh, boy.
If it's Brandon Phillips,
Walk off.
we got to walk off.
All right.
DJ Patty Cakes.
You have chosen poorly.
It was Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce is the correct answer. 30 home runs in 2013.
Whoa.
Jamie squeaks by DJ Patty Cakes 5-4 today. DJ Patty, sorry, ma'am. Got to send you back to the snake pit. A loser.
I got a mop for you, DJ Patty Cakes.
Hi-oh.
I appreciate it, boys.
Hey, thanks for listening, man. Thanks for playing. Yeah, he's out. You don't need
It's good. I don't like these guys anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, you just dropped out of the snake pit, too.
Oh, jeez.
No.
They're going to kick him out.
No, they're not.
They're going to kick him right out. Nice
I was
job, man.
nervous
You
it was Joey Votto.
You got all the questions right, dude. Every single one of them.
I remember Jay Bruce. I don't remember him hitting that many home runs, but I was like trying to time period it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, is Joey Votto?
That's a tough one. Joey Votto seems the obvious one. Phillips is the outlier. Do you really want to go the outlier on that one? Jay Bruce had some good years.
What did he have? How many? 30?
30.
Oh, boy.
Yep. I'd be interested to see how many home runs Joey Votto had that year. Let's see. Quick goggle search we'll do here. 2013 Cincinnati Reds. Let's see. I shouldn't look this up. Watch it be Votto.
Oh, yeah. Get him back on.
Get him back on.
No, it's easy. If it's Votto, we call him back tomorrow.
Let's see. Jay Bruce with 30. Joey Votto, second with 24. Yep.
Wow.
Brandon Phillips with 18 that year. All right. Nice job there, Jamie.
I'll take it.
We'll have a new Gauntlet contestant tomorrow. Should the Cardinals trade one of their utility pieces for a left-hander that apparently is almost a guarantee to be dealt at the deadline? We'll tell you who that is and what it could take next on 101 ESPN. Jamie, when it comes to our guy Stewie, he's always working the phones. And when I say phones, I actually just mean his cell phone because he hands out his personal.
Feels like there's more.
Yeah, because it honestly feels like there's a lot of Stewies going because when it comes to Stewie, he's got a bunch of different programs. He's always developing them. They're his own creation. How about the bagel loan? When you borrow $200,000 or more, get in your house, right? You're borrowing that amount of money. Well, it always comes with closing costs. Always comes with lender fees and all that. Unless you work with Stewie. I don't know any other lender that does this, Jamie. Do you?
No, absolutely not.
It's incredible. He hands out his cell phone number, his personal cell phone number, because he wants you to give him a call or text him because he wants to save you money over your loan.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're purchasing a home too, your realtor will provide you with their preferred lender. That's great. It's very helpful. But call Stewie. Get a second opinion because sometimes there are things that the average lender doesn't think of. And Stewie does. Or there's programs that maybe aren't available out there except for Stewie with Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. So it's always a great thing to get that second opinion, do your homework, call Stewie. All he wants is for you to save money, and if you are purchasing a home, get to the closing table. That's the biggest one. So give him a call or a text. You have to hurry up, though. He's a busy guy. His phone number is 314-324-4440.
Again, 314-324-4440.
Give him a call. If you can't remember that number, Anthony, what can the listeners do?
Well, you remember we were talking about the bagel loan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just Google the bagel loan. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Graham Francis pinch hitting for our guy Andrew Marsh. By the way, it's Battlehawk Thursday. We got Jacob Saylors coming on. Battlehawks running back. He'll be joining us at 5 o'clock. But Jamie, there was a report, I believe it was from Ken Rosenthal, that said that Jesus Luzardo, former A's top prospect, now with the Marlins, is the most likely player to be dealt at the MLB trade deadline this year. Jesus Luzardo is a left-hander, still young, loads of talent. He's 26 years old. Somebody that really hasn't developed fully into, a top of the rotation arm. But again, somebody with loads of talent. You look at some of his numbers right now. Through 9 starts, 51 and 2/3 innings this year. He's got a 4.18 ERA. But the FIP, fielding independent percentage, which is a better indicator of how the actual pitcher is doing, 3.63. You read it just like an ERA. So 3.63 for Jesus Luzardo.
That sounds not too bad.
That sounds not too bad. A year ago, 178 and 2/3 innings, 3.58 ERA, 3.55 FIP. This kid's good. Now his strikeout rate this season has dipped a little bit, but otherwise we're talking about a K9 rate of 10.48. I mean, anything over 10 is very good. He just hasn't thrown a lot of innings thus far. And he's not somebody that's going to be, an innings eater, so to speak.
You don't need
but he's
him to
also
be.
26, so he can develop into it.
If the Cardinals were able to trade for him, and we'll get into what it might take to do that. Let's just play the game for a minute, okay?
Yep.
He comes in and you slot him in as your 5th starter, because that's kind of what you're doing anyways right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you keep Palante and Liberatore on your roster. He only has to pitch 4 innings. He only has to pitch 5 innings a game.
He's somebody that give you 5.
But then you got Palante and Liberatore that can go 2 or 3 innings and take you right to your back half of your bullpen, which is fine.
Right.
So I'm not worried about the innings, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get there eventually. And
right.
Maybe he comes here and has more success or things are changing. Whatever.
Somebody that threw 178 innings, I think is what I read. That he can get to 200 at this point.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. That's not too much of a jump for him.
What do you think it takes to get this guy? Because he's cost-controlled pitcher right now. I mean, it would take you quite a bit. And I looked at a couple things here. The Cardinals picked up some pretty good players last year in particular when they picked up, was it Parayko and Sajasi?
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are good players, solid. Sajasi's having a really good year. Had a little bit of a slump there for a couple of games, but then yesterday I think he hit for the cycle, I believe, is what I read. Maybe I could be wrong. Or, anyways.
I think he was almost for a cycle.
Almost for the cycle. But you don't need those 2 guys.
Right. They're kind of the same player.
They're Brendan Donovan, they're Tommy Edman. Right there. And you already have Mason Wynn as a shortstop. And you have Nolan Gorman, who's a second baseman, who's proving to be a good, above average defensive second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got 4 guys that you can plop into your middle infield, which is basically where Sajasi and Parayko are that's where they make their money. Now, Sajasi does play some outfield from time to time.
Yeah.
But you don't require those players.
Right.
So I would have no problem with repackaging those 2 along with, because it's going to take you more than those 2.
Yes.
But what would your puke point be if you're the Cardinals?
I don't know if I have a puke point. If we're not talking about, assuming we're not talking about Jordan Walker, we're not talking about Mason Wynn, obviously. I'm just not even.
They're going to ask for that, though.
Certainly, yeah. They're going to ask for hitting, but I like that. One, you don't need hitting. The Marlins are kind of a perfect fit for the Cardinals. The Cardinals don't need offense in terms of they're not going to ask for more prospects when it comes to offensive players or somebody at the big league level that's an offensive player. The collection of position players that they have just needs to hit. The Marlins are loaded with pitching. They've got, obviously, unfortunately, Sandy Alcantara. They've got this kid, Jesus Luzardo. They've got Braxton Garrett, who's another young pitcher within their organization. Ryan Weathers has been fine for them. They've got pitching. Sixto Sanchez, the guy that got yelled at by our guy Skip, still a young pitcher, right, that's developing.
Yeah,
they've got pitching. They don't have a bunch of young infielders. They've got the outfielders. They got Jazz Chisholm. They've got De La Cruz and Jesus Sanchez. They've got outfield. They're good there. They need infielders. So I think that this winds up being a perfect fit. You asked me the puke point. I don't know if there is one.
Is Gorman the puke point?
Yeah, probably. So, yeah, there's a puke point.
Because
I'm not giving up Gorman.
Okay. Why not? Because
Young,
in the
lefty,
offseason,
power hitter.
In the offseason, there are a lot of people that are ready to give up Gorman for pitching.
Yeah.
Why now? Why are we not giving him up now?
Is Taylor Motter still around? I'd give up him.
No, he's not. He's not around. I appreciate your effort, though. That was nice of you. Mm-hmm. I don't think Taylor Motter is the puke point. Not in that sense of it.
What if it were? And I just got done listing off. Yeah, I feel you on that. You know what? I was going to throw out Dylan Carlson, but they don't need outfielders. So
maybe he could play the infield. You know the Marlins are going to look at Jordan Walker. Mm-hmm. They're going to look at Nolan Gorman. They're going to look at a young power bat with some cost control left because, hey, you're getting cost control from us.
2 years of arbitration with this kid.
You're getting, you're going to get 3 years out of this guy. And we need a little bit. You got to hit us back here a little bit, you know? So I don't know what the puke point is for that. Like, is Walker or Gorman? I know a lot of people are like, Trey Walker. He's 20, he's 22 years old. We don't really know what he is yet. Because Walker's that guy, you trade him and you get the Sandy Alcantara, but the position player. Right. 2 years from now, he's top 5 in National League in batting or slug percentage or whatever the heck it is, right? I don't know if that'll happen, but this is where it's very tough to be a front office because you have to consider all of these elements and you need the pitching. But here's the best part about it is this is not a quick fix pitching. You've got them for this year and 2 more years of arbitration. It's kind of what you need to bridge that gap. It's kind of what you need to be able to move on from one of your elder statesmen in the rotation next year, and then you hope that you get the progression from Graceffo, McGreevy, Hentz, and then you have, maybe a Tink Hentz in the lineup 2 years from now with Luzardo, with Sonny Gray. Like, starts to look a little different at that point.
I'm not familiar with the Marlins organization, right? Like, I don't know who their top prospects are.
They're down in Florida.
Well,
Skip is their manager.
Yeah, thank you. No, you're right about that.
Very few fans show up to the games.
It's a grand total of 4, I think. I don't know if their top prospect is what I'm about to mention, but what about Ivan Herrera?
Oh, I would do that.
It would take more than that, but Herrera.
Herrera's a pretty damn good player,
and then some prospects.
We'd have to probably include Sajasi or something like that in there,
and maybe even a pitcher too, because every organization's going to ask for pitching. Yeah. Even if a team like Miami has a bunch of pitching right now, when it comes to their low levels and things like that, that would be kind of interesting. Now you need Contreras to come back. Obviously, he needs to be healthy, but that to me would be more intriguing than giving up a young lefty power hitter like a Gorman.
Yeah, I just think it's.
If it does take Gorman though, would you be in?
I think I would be. And the reason I get to that point is you're going to get whatever it is left for this year, whether it's now or at the trade deadline that you get with this pitcher, plus 2 more years. And I understand you have cost control with Gorman too. But you also have Brendan Donovan that can play second base, not just play it very well. You have Tommy Edman that can go back to the Gold Glove position because Siani has emerged as a really good defensive center field, and you have Victor Scott. Yeah. So you have overkill at center field now. Left fielder, Brendan Donovan plays a great left field. He also can help out shortstop or second base. Like, you have the pieces. You don't have the bat. You don't. But now the emergence of someone like Alec Burleson, the way he's been hitting the ball this year, you look at it and go, okay, he's not going to hit the home runs that Gorman hits, but can he generate the offense too?
Right. Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
think I would make that deal.
All right, it's fast.
But it'd be 1 for 1. It wouldn't be any more than that. I'd be no.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're not giving you anything more.
Yeah.
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We'll get our Sports Six-Pack next, so if you get a question for us, then send it to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Sports Six-Pack next.
Anthony, the NBA playoffs have been exciting, to say the least. It's fun watching some of the best players in the league right now in the Final Four. Jason Tatum, he's on his way to the championship.
Yep.
St. Louis's own. Been watching some clips of him from the old Chaminade days. It's kind of fun to see him having the success that he's having. But nothing is as much fun as using FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And it's not too late either to get in on the NBA action. And right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet.
It's a great promotion from a great sports betting book. You're talking about FanDuel. They've got the same game parlays. They got the live betting action. You could be watching a game and you're in Illinois, or you're at a friend's house, something like that. You're watching the games, right? You can live bet the action with FanDuel. They've got the championship futures too. So if maybe you want to put a wager on our guy Jason Tatum to win the NBA Finals MVP or the Celtics to win it all, you can do it all at FanDuel. But you do have to get signed up. Go to FanDuel.com/fast to get started. Again, FanDuel.com/fast to get started. With FanDuel, the sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus distributors not withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Grant Francis here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals picked up another win yesterday in Cincinnati as they take that series with the Reds. 5-3 the final yesterday. Cardinals back to 500, 27-27 on the season. The big story yesterday was Andre Palante going 6 innings, only allowing 3 hits. He had 3 walks and 0 earned runs. The Cardinals will be back in action tomorrow as they are in Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. It'll be a 5:40 first pitch from Philadelphia. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, we will have NHL playoff coverage of the Eastern Conference Finals Game 5 between the Rangers and the Panthers. That series currently all tied up at 2 games apiece. That pregame will be at 6:30. Coming up next here on the Fast Lane, we will have the Sports Six-Pack. So send in your questions, 314-399-9646, the Air Comfort Service text line. We'll hit that next here in the Fast Lane. I'm Grant Francis. The Sports Center update's been driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalters, the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Grant Francis pinch hitting for our guy Andrew Marsh today, and he's got your questions for the Sports Six-Pack. Real quick, though. We're just having a conversation about Jesus Luzardo, the young left-hander from Miami, and what it might take to get for the Cardinals to get him from Miami. And I know Frick James from the Snake Pit was just kidding, but he was talking about, what's this station have against Nolan Gorman? They always want to trade him. Understand that, one, we do not want to trade Nolan Gorman. The idea of any conversation involving Gorman, though, is because other teams will ask for Gorman. Young, lefty, power hitter. That's why the conversation always revolves around Nolan Gorman.
Yeah.
It's not because we have some sort of vendetta. Again, though, James, I know you were just kidding.
My only job is to make the Cardinals better, Anthony.
Same.
That's it.
Well, you all saw what I did working with Nolan Arenado the other night.
You did?
I didn't work with him specifically.
Well,
I just believed in him.
He probably was listening to the show on the app.
Yeah.
He thought that my guy, Anthony Stalter, has confidence in me. I'm not going to let him down.
Makes sense.
Well, and you guys talked about it yesterday, too. Now that they're back at 500, Marshy does a great job with the Sounders for the Gauntlet. He held the team accountable. The team's back at 500.
It's true.
Well said, Grant.
Kerry jumped the gun a little bit because he put the red glasses on before they were officially 500.
Well, he's trying his best, but
tried hard.
Yeah. Anyways, Grant, what do you got for us?
Question number 1.
All right, sort of building off of that conversation we were just having before the break from the 618, would you consider trading Alec Burleson?
Well,
it depends on what we're getting.
Luzardo?
For Luzardo?
Just having that in the conversation.
100%.
Yes, I would.
Now, you're not going to get away with trading Burleson for Luzardo straight up. The Marlins are going to say he's playing fine, but no, you'll have to sweeten the deal a little bit.
Yeah.
You absolutely get away with trading just Gorman because, well, the numbers bear it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, of course. Quite honestly, it's not that nobody's safe because some guys are, but
well, not in the fast lane.
Not in the fast lane. Yeah, you beat me to it. Nice job there, Grant.
There's only a select few players that are, I would say, safe from being traded or that would not make sense in a trade, whether that's because they have no value or they have tremendous value. But yeah, Alec Burleson, absolutely. I would make him part of a package deal for that.
Yes, I would too. And it's not because, look, Alec Burleson's had a really nice season thus far.
I like the guy.
I do too, but you kind of have you have similar players. You've got some lefties that they've got some power to them. You got some of the utility players and Tommy Edman when he's healthy, and Brendan Donovan, and now the two youngsters that Jamie was talking about in the previous segment, Parayko and Sajasi. Like, you got similar players. What you don't have you don't have a stockpile of pitching. I would love to see a bunch of, number one pitchers that are all like carbon copies of each other, Jamie? Maybe one righty, one lefty.
Well, it sure would be nice.
Sit 98 with a excellent variety of off-speed pitches as well. Mm-hmm. Nice combination of 4 or 5 pitches. Like, if you can carbon copy that, Grant, that's kind of what I'm looking for the Cardinals.
Doing my best.
Yeah, thanks.
What I found out, too, is Luzardo had an injury, too, this year for a little bit. He's back now, but that's why some of his numbers are lower.
Oh, like the strikeout rate and things like that? And they're really not that far off. I mean, the guy's pitched very well. So, anyways, if you could just get on that, Grant, carbon copy of it.
I've been working on it.
Thank you, sir.
Question number 2.
All right, sort of sticking with the pitching conversation, we talked about the Jorge Lopez situation earlier with him throwing his glove into the crowd and being cut by the Mets. Would you claim Jorge Lopez off the waivers from the Mets? He has talent when his head's right. Give him a chance to be good in the bullpen and bring out his talent. That's from the 314.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
I know we've talked about the bullpen struggles, but I mean, if you look at Jorge Lopez, let's just start off here. He's got an ERA of 3.76, so that pops to you, right? You say, oh, he's got an excellent bullpen. The expected ERA is 4.58. That means there's a lot of negative regression coming. If you look at Jorge Lopez's his career overall, we are not talking about a player that has had a ton of success. If you just look at, where was I before here? I was looking at like the WAR. It's all minus. Yeah, this last year with the Orioles minus 0.5, minus 0.5 for Miami, minus 0.2 for the Twins. Even WAR player 1.9. He's mostly been a negative WAR player wherever he's been, whether that's Kansas City, Baltimore, Minnesota. The reason why he's had opportunities is because he does have some, he does have a skill set where you look at him and say, oh, okay, we just got to harness this. Ultimately, he's got a career ERA of 5.42. So I'm gonna pass on that too.
Yeah, I have no desire.
Yeah.
Question number 3.
I was just waiting for the go blank yourself, San Diego to come out.
No, doesn't fit my team.
All right.
All right, well, we'll get into some hockey here for you, Jamie, since you're all upset over there now. From the 217, Jamie, is Wayne Gretzky the most humble and down-to-earth guy as he seems on the TNT broadcast?
Yeah, he really is. He's an excellent teammate. Excellent dude. Like, I've told the story before, very first day ever meeting Wayne Gretzky in the locker room down at the Kiel Center, walking in and not nervous, but you're kind of like, okay, it's Wayne Gretzky. Like, it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. Going to shake his hand and, say, hey, Jamie Rivers, nice to meet you. He's like, oh, hey, Wayne, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, man, no kidding, Wayne.
I know who you are, Wayne.
He knew things about my career. He knew things about other players. A fun guy to go to dinner with. Easy guy to have a beer with. Like, just a great dude, and he continues to do that. And here's something like that some people don't know. Is that Wayne Gretzky, from the day he entered the NHL, has been nothing but an incredible ambassador for the NHL. He has carried this league on his back at times where things were not great for the league or things were happening, and Wayne Gretzky always has great things to say about the NHL. He represents the league very well. Whatever team he played on, he represented very well. And now he's doing an excellent job on TNT, once again, growing the game of hockey on a major U.S. network. So, yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about Wayne Gretzky. He's still to this day, he's an awesome dude.
All right, that's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Grant Francis has got the rest of the Sports Six-Pack coming up for you next here on 101 ESPN.
time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Time to continue our Sports Six-Pack with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Grant Francis.
Question number 4.
All right, guys, from the 309. I am a casual hockey fan. I like watching the games, but don't understand all the rules. Why does the ref sometimes act like they're going to drop the puck and then players get kicked out of the faceoff? I've never understood that.
Oh, man. There's a lot of reasons that the players get kicked out of the faceoff circle. Sometimes if their wingers are encroaching too close to the faceoff dot or they come into the circle, the centerman can be thrown out because of what his winger does. If the centerman doesn't set himself, the one centerman has to put his stick down first, and then the other one can put his stick down. If they refuse to or don't time it right, then the referee can say you're wasting time here and kick him out of the faceoff. You can also have the centerman that's a little too eager, lines up and then tries to time the faceoff, but the referee doesn't drop the puck yet, and so they smack away at nothing, and then that guy who initiates the so-called face-off, he can get kicked out at that point. There's a little marker on the ice that's like a T almost, and you're supposed to keep your skates square on the sides of the T so that you don't create an unfair advantage by turning one way or the other, because obviously that'd be a big advantage if you could stand sideways and win a face-off. So if that player is cheating too much with the way the body placement is, then the referee at that point can also throw the centerman out of the face-off.
Yeah.
And then sometimes referees just make up stuff, or they think, like not really, but they think that the player's being too eager or they don't like a certain setup, then they'll toss the guy out.
That's what I was going to ask next. Is it like black and white, or is it like to be determined by the official? Is it different per official?
It's different per official. And you try to, as a centerman out there, you try to talk to them and find out, what their guidelines are. And as a veteran centerman, you usually know the linesmen and how they drop the puck and what they will accept, what they won't accept, how much you can cheat, how much you can't cheat, because they're all cheating out there, some form of it or not, they're cheating. Some centermen are so smart now, they time it. They go back and they watch the video, and when the referee, the players get set, they'll kind of do pause, 2, 3, and see how long it takes them to drop the puck. So then the next time they play with that referee, they're timing them up in their head so that they can come and put their stick down, but then, just in time to go 1, 2, and then boom, and then cheat on the draw because they know the timing of how he drops the puck, which is sometimes how some players get too far ahead of the faceoff because the referee maybe changes his timing for whatever reason. There's lots of different things that happen within the faceoff game.
What do you think about when, if you have two players back to back that get thrown out of the faceoff circle, it's a minor penalty?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you hate that rule?
No, I think it's good because I remember when I first broke into the league, that rule didn't exist. And we had a 5-on-4 killing a penalty, and both of our guys got tossed out, and then the defenseman has to go in and take the face off. It starts to get a little silly after a while. And sometimes teams will do that, Grant, to, like right now with the icing rule. Wouldn't it be in your best interest to go in there and just get like 3 or 4 guys kicked out of the face-off continuously just to buy more time to get your wind back, get your legs back to feeling a little bit better? Of course it would. And then you take your time and you're like, okay, who's going to take it? And you skate over to one guy. He says, no, the other guy take it. The whole time everybody's resting. So the referees now they've cut all the BS out of it. You get your one thing, and they'll even hold up the one finger saying, okay, that's the one warning. And then if you do it again, you're gone. 2-minute minor.
Makes sense.
Question number 5.
All right, guys, from Jamie's Vacation Speedo. If you could be the head coach of any team for any sport, what would it be for?
For me, it'd be football. Just it's a sport I know the most. Not that I know a lot. For me, that'd be the one I'd be most interested in, the most comfortable, the most. I feel like I could be the most creative at. So, yeah, football for me.
Would you go Falcons or would you go your Chips?
I think I would start off at Central Michigan, restore that program to its highest form, Grant, win a couple of MAC championships and then make my way to the NFL. Fix the Falcons, yeah. I think it's a natural path, quite frankly, Central Michigan to the Falcons.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they once hired Bobby Petrino, so,
Anything's possible.
why not me?
Why
right?
not you, Anthony?
Yeah.
It's very well said.
Thank you.
I think that, one, I want to get paid, right? I want some money here. So I think I'd manage the Yankees. I mean, Anthony says all the time the manager doesn't matter. So,
Never said the manager doesn't matter.
However you word it. You basically said that.
No, it's important how you word it.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Why?
Context matters.
Well, then what am I saying that's wrong?
I have said that we overestimate the role of the manager
so it
and the
doesn't matter.
impact of the manager. Okay. What I say and what you hear.
Yeah. Obviously, if we're going for like money, then I'll pick another sport because some of those coaches and actually I'll go coach college football is what I'll do. Make some serious money there.
That's true.
I don't have to know anything. I got coordinators for that. I just have to be the CEO, Anthony.
Wow.
Just directing traffic out there. I could do that.
You could be a CEO coach.
Sure.
You'd
But
be great as a CEO coach.
If it has to be a sport that I actually could coach, then it'd be hockey. For simplicity purposes, I'd rather coach the Blues. That way I don't have to move around anywhere.
There you go. Perfect.
So that would work great.
I do think one element of being a baseball manager that would be fun, and I guess this is really only MLB that this happens often, but if an official or an umpire is just awful, you can be like Ollie Marmol has done a couple times this season, go out and just lay into him. That's something you don't see in other sports.
No, well, yeah, because you can't get close to the official. I mean, football you could, but the moment you walk onto the field, they tell you get the hell off the field.
Yeah.
And hockey, you can't really see a coach like Craig Berube, for example, jumping over the boards and walking over on the ice to the referee to get in his face.
Right.
Be a little bit interesting. But, I think that it'd be fun. It'd be great.
Go ahead, Grant.
Question number 6.
All right, from the 314, if Nootbaar does go on the IL, do you think Victor Scott comes up?
If Nootbaar goes on the IL, do you think it's Victor Scott?
They got Carlson. Who do we got in the outfield? You got Donovan, Carlson, Ciani. Yeah, Burleson, who can play out there. I don't think they mess with Victor Scott.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think they do.
Because
I think they call up Jordan Walker before they did Scott.
But if you bring up either guy, you need to play them, right? Yep. So, I agree with that, actually. Yeah, depending on how long Newt's going to be.
Yep. Because he hit the ball a little bit the last couple of games down in Memphis, but his numbers are still not fantastic. He's a great defensive center fielder, but Michael Ciani is too.
Right.
Ciani does a pretty damn good job covering some ground out there as well. So I wouldn't mess with it. And again, I'll reiterate that if we got desperate in the outfield position, I'd probably just call up Jordan Walker.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, we got to get to our weekly chat with the Battlehawk. Jacob Saylors is going to join us next, the running back for the Battlehawks here on 101 ESPN.
Medicine Shop in St. Charles. They are your one-stop shop for anything that you need from your local pharmacy. And let's just be honest here, it's not a chain. It's privately owned, and the staff there is fantastic. You walk in, you ask them anything to do with cold and flu or allergies. They're going to take you to the right spot. They're going to give you great suggestions, and they're going to look out for you because they care about their customers. And fellas, if you're paying too much right now, currently for your ED meds, stop doing that. The Medicine Shop in St. Charles is your destination for cheap ED meds. They have a generic called Sildenafil for less than $2 a pill, prescription required, of course. And they also offer free discreet shipping and delivery to your home or your workplace of any prescription medication that you take on a regular basis. It's an awesome program. I love it. Busy life, busy schedule, craziness everywhere. Don't worry about getting to the pharmacy. The Medicine Shop in St. Charles will come to you. So please stop by their facility and talk to them about their delivery service. And if you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit them at stcharles.medicineshop.com. That's stcharles.medicineshop.com.
Randy Carricker here with Jim Olive, the Auto Loan Pro from AutoLoanPro.com. Jim, if people are in the market for a new car or truck, why should they go to AutoLoanPro.com right now?
Simply put, Randy, rates are at an all-time high, and we're here to help people get in the car, truck, SUV of their choice, get them driving today, eliminate any roadblocks that they possibly have with any kind of financial situation, and get them driving today.
Jim Olive is working with more than 50 lenders. He is the Auto Loan Pro from AutoLoanPro.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, choose the Auto Loan Pro, AutoLoanPro.com.
Two pros and one average Joe. You're listening to The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
It's The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's head to the 101 ESPN Celebrity Line. We're joined by Battlehawks running back Jacob Saylors. Big game this weekend against San Antonio. And Jacob, we appreciate you taking the time and joining us today in the Fast Lane. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank y'all for having me.
No, it's our pleasure, Jacob. But you've had a great season. You've been fun to watch. The plays that you have made this year, whether you out of the backfield from a receiving standpoint or on the ground, you've added a lot to this offense. When you first agreed to become a Battlehawk, what did you know about the offense, Bruce Gradkowski's offense? What did you know about your role? Talk to us a little bit about that.
To be honest, man, I didn't know too much. I didn't know who the coaches were. The only guy on the team I knew was A.J. McCarron, and it wasn't personally. I just knew the name. So, I just looked at it as another opportunity, just to expand my horizon, gain some new relationships, whether with the coaches or the players. And, it's surpassed every expectation I had for it, just the brotherhood, the guys on the team that I've been able to become close to, the games we've been able to win and are going to win. It's been a fun ride.
First of all, I love the confidence. Second of all, Jacob, this offense has been fun to watch. What has been the thing that you have loved playing? What's been the thing that you've loved the most about playing for Bruce Gradkowski?
He's the type of coach where if you prove to him that you're going to make the play, or make a play, he's going to give you more opportunities. He's going to, draw up some schemes to get you the ball in your hands or, get the ball behind you, whether you're the offensive lineman. He sees the guys that he has and he works with them. He's definitely that type of coach, and he brings a lot of energy to it, and, including like just the other players. Whenever anybody makes a big play, he brings that energy, and it's just fun to want to repeat and do the same thing week after week.
Jacob, you said you didn't know too much about the coaching staff or even some of your teammates before you got here, but I'm assuming you knew about the fans here in St. Louis down at the Battle Dome. How has that been for you, playing your home games at the Battle Dome with the best fans in the UFL?
Absolutely, man. It's a dream come true, honestly, to me. A kid, like I told you guys last time, from a small town. These are the largest crowds I've played in my life. Just the electricity they bring to the building, just playing in the dome as well. It's super fun, and I've grown to love the city of St. Louis, man, to be honest. And I'm looking forward to this weekend, being back in there again.
So, Jacob Saylors, the running back for the Battlehawks, this is a huge game coming up for you guys with it being San Antonio. What's the biggest challenge? Because the San Antonio defense has played pretty well this year.
Absolutely. I think the biggest challenge, again, this week is just going to be ourselves. We look from the start of the season to now, each time we've had a loss, it's more times than not been able to be prevented based off the mistakes that the team makes as a whole. Some of the big-time plays that go in the other team's direction, like some of those things are preventable. And, that's the thing that we're going to try to do this week again, is just be the best be the best St. Louis Battlehawks team that we can be from top to bottom.
Jacob, what's you had mentioned before that you knew of A.J. McCarron. You didn't know him personally, but what's one of the things that has impressed you the most? Because as you've got a little time in the NFL, you got now in the UFL. What is the thing that has really stood out to you about the way that A.J. McCarron has played?
You know, he plays like a true veteran. You know, he earns the respect of his teammates day in and day out. The type of competitor he is, from the smallest detail, you know, everywhere across the board on the field. You know, he's that energy that he's like the heart of this offense in a way. You know, and whether it's AJ or Manny, the other quarterback, you know, we have the utmost confidence in them guys, man, and the presence that whole quarterback room brings to this team as a whole.
Jacob, do I have this correct? It looks like you spent a little time with the Falcons.
That's right, yes, sir.
All right, so I'm a Falcon fan because of Dion.
Anthony's a diehard Falcons fan.
Yeah, so you know, in your time with the Falcons, were you down there with Arthur Smith?
Yes, sir, I was.
So what are some of the things about playing in the NFL that you learned, you know, going through camp and maybe some OTAs that you were able to translate to now the UFL?
You know, I think being around those vets on the team, you know, in Atlanta and Cincinnati as well, you know, I kind of just try to emulate that work ethic and how they approach the meeting room as well, and how they transfer that to the practice field, you know, and it's been obviously paying off dividends to my success on the field this year.
Jacob, when you're talking about coaching, I have no choice but to ask you a little bit about your current head coach, Anthony Becht. We've had him on the show a couple of times, and he comes across as a great guy. To me, you know, I'm a former hockey player. It feels to me like he's a player's coach out there. But for you guys, how quick was it for you to develop a relationship with Anthony Becht, and how much fun is it going to play for him?
Man, it's super fun. You know, the energy he brings, he's running up and down the sideline, you know, not a big hoorah type coach in the locker room and stuff. And, you know, that's kind of the thing that these players, this team, you know, we don't need that. We kind of just need it, you know, toe to us in black and white. And I think he understands that perfectly. And I think you hit it right on the head when you said he's a player's coach. He's the true definition of a player's coach. You know, the experience he has being a player, you know, with that type of career, you know, it's easy to come into the team room and just have the respect of all his players because he's been where we want to be. He's done it at the highest level possible year and year again. And, you know, it's just a great person to have as the head coach of the team. You know, I feel incredibly blessed to have him as my coach. And, yeah, just extremely happy to be a Battlehawk, man.
That's awesome. I love that about Anthony Becht. Jacob, one more thing for you is, you know, you talked about Manny and AJ, your quarterbacks, and a great quarterback room. You know, obviously, AJ's been sidelined here with an injury. You know, how much has that changed some things? Not talking good or bad, just differently, the way the offense is being run. And, you know, for you personally, just as the running back, how much changes for you?
You know, it changes because I feel like it makes everybody else on the offensive side of the ball more aware, you know, of their responsibility and their assignment and, you know, just their role in this offense. And I really do think that it's brought a acute vision of focus for the guys on the team, you know, and on the offense, because we can't, you know, afford to you know, have a misread or have a missed assignment. We can't get by and be where we want to be by doing those type of things.
Well, Jacob, we know that you have a busy week. We know that you got a big game coming up, but we do appreciate your time today, man. Thank you.
Thank y'all, man. It's been great talking to you guys.
No, it's our pleasure. Thanks, Jacob.
Good luck this weekend, bud.
Thank y'all. See y'all out there.
All right, sounds good. Take care. Jacob Saylors, running back for the Battlehawks here on 101 ESPN. He's been a fun player to watch, man.
He's really good.
He's got like explosive tendencies. It doesn't surprise me that he was in camp with Atlanta. He was in camp with Cincinnati. Cincinnati runs a very similar offense, the Bengals do, as the Battlehawks. It's why A.J. McCarron was picked up, midseason last year when the Bengals lost Joe Burrow. And I love how Anthony Beck does that. Anthony Beck wants what's best for the players, and he knows that these guys have NFL aspirations still. And if he can help these kids become, even better football players, get an opportunity to go to the NFL. One of the selling points for a team like the Bengals or the Rams or, whoever's running a similar offense to Bruce Gronkowski is, I know the terminology. I know what the offense is trying to do. I know what my role is going to be. So you get picked up, when it comes to these NFL camps. I think it's great.
I do too. And what I like too about what Jacob said about Anthony Becht is, the moment he walks in the room, he's got the respect of the guys for the playing career that he had and whatnot. But what I like even more is that Anthony Becht knows that it only gets you the first day. That's your pass.
Right.
Because if you don't know your stuff and you're not a good coach and you're not passionate and you don't put the work in, and that respect that you have from being a player is gone.
Sure.
You're exposed. Exactly. And it seems like Anthony Becht is not just seems, it's apparent that he's well prepared, that he works hard, and that he's got the trust of his team, which is huge.
Absolutely. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie was sending out some texts earlier today to our text chain. No, not my personal text.
Okay,
the Fastlane text.
All right.
And there was one, I looked at it and it was kind of an article, and I'm like, I read the headline, I go, hey, why is this, what, yeah, doesn't this, I didn't know this was a thing. We'll tell you what that is next on 101 ESPN. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. So we got our text chain for the Fastlane going on, and Jamie was firing off a couple of things today. And at one point, I saw an article. I'm like, well, yeah, why is that a thing? It said, Colton Parayko unlikely to be traded by the Blues. Like, what? I guess it's the same. It's something. It's a little similar to the conversation we had earlier with Nolan Gorman. And it's just other teams are going to be interested in Colton Parayko because of his skill set. So he'll continue to come up in trade conversations and articles like this, like off-season articles. But Jamie, I mean, maybe it's just working with you, but I never expected the Blues to consider trading Colton Parayko.
Okay, Anthony, let's go back. Okay, you and I are going to time travel here just for a second. We're going to go back to middle to postseason of not the year that just went by, the year before.
Okay.
And do you remember how many people I would get into battles with the text line about them wanting to trade Colton Parayko? Get rid of Parayko. Trade Parayko. Mm-hmm. The Athletic had Colton Parayko, one of the worst contracts in the NHL.
Yep.
And what did I say about that?
You said, based on the value of the deal, we're going to look at it in, I don't know if you used a certain 2 years, 3 years, and his deal, based on him as a player, is going to look like a steal.
Yeah. So I feel somewhat vindicated today. Now, the Daily Face-Off, I certainly don't need their vindication.
It's nice, though.
But they talk about Colton Parayko and his cap hit at $6.5 million. And the term and all that stuff. And basically they go on to say that it's a steal, especially in the upcoming years. It'll be a steal to have Colton Parayko at $6.5 million. Okay. So feeling pretty good about that.
I would say so, too.
But also, I never for 1 second thought you trade Colton Parayko, ever. Because, and I said this on these airwaves, probably some people are going to be like, I'm tired of hearing it. But the moment you trade Colton Parayko, you're looking for Colton Parayko.
Right.
It's no different than Alex Pietrangelo. The moment you traded him, you went looking for him. Again, the moment you let him walk, I stand corrected. You go looking for me. When you have a difference maker as a player, you don't trade those players. You don't, because they're not readily available out there, for one thing. And when you have one in-house that you have locked up for another, 3 or 4 years at a really good price, you certainly don't let that player go or trade him. So it was funny to me to think in my head that some people out there still thought, up until this article, that Colton Parayko, maybe they get rid of him. No chance. No chance you trade a guy like Colton Parayko. He's a number one defenseman for you right now, and he's making number 4, number 3 money. You just can't argue with that. Look at the Edmonton Oilers right now, and I'll give Grant credit for this, for bringing it up in the office earlier today. They have Darnell Nurse, who's maybe one of the worst defensemen that they've had in the playoffs this year for the Oilers. So much so that the Edmonton media has been all over him. He makes $9.5 million. That's the number one defenseman in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't break your top 4 here in St. Louis. No matter what order you have the Blues 4 defensemen, their top 4 guys, Darnell Nurse would not be a top 4 defenseman for you. He's not a top 4 defenseman for the Oilers right now. He's playing alongside, Cody Ceci, and these guys are, it's at the point where they can barely play them. Now, he had a better game last night. Still was on the ice for, I believe, the first 2 goals for the Dallas Stars, but then came back and got involved in the offense and whatnot. But my point is not to make Darnell Nurse feel like crap here today. My point is that you have Colton Parayko at $6.5 million, who plays against Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Nathan McKinnon. He gets the worst and hardest matchup every single night.
Yep.
And how many times last year in a game where you're like, woof, what a play. What a play. The one-man breakout, the way he skates, the way he closes out plays. So again, for me, it was somewhat shocking or surprising that there still might have been a narrative out there that you're trading Colton Parayko. Now, they do list other players. They talk about that St. Louis Blues defensemen that the Blues might have multiple defensemen that they could pick from. And they mentioned Nick Leddy, Torrey Krug, and Justin Falk, which I mean, if you're not trading Colton Parayko, that's probably the only guys, I don't say the only guys of value, but I don't think anybody's going to break the bank for you from a player standpoint if they're looking to trade for Matthew Kessel or Tyler Tucker or even Scott Perunovich. Those aren't major trades.
Right.
So that's where we're at right now with the Colton Parayko stuff.
Well, and to your point, it's not just like Darnell Nurse. There's a ton of defensemen that you look at. Like I'm on Cap Friendly right now looking at cap hits, some of the highest paid defensemen in the league. I would take Colton Parayko over Erik Karlsson.
Oh, absolutely.
As a defenseman, he's the highest paid.
Was it $13 million?
11.5. He's making 11.5.
He was minus what, 35 this year?
Oh. Yeah. There's Zach Werenski, Seth Jones.
Yep.
Seth
go down
Jones
the list.
Is
terrible too.
Jake Sanderson, Thomas Chabot. Like these guys aren't.
Jake Sanderson, he's unreal as a young defenseman, and Thomas Chabot had a bad year last year, but you can see why those guys are getting paid.
At least they're young.
Sanderson is the projection of what he could be. With Thomas Chabot, it's the huge numbers he put up early in his NHL career. So I don't hate those contracts. Those other guys, though, like it's amazing to think of the amount of money that's going out there for some of these defensemen.
And then you look at Parayko.
You look at Parayko at 6.5, and you had a lot of the fan base here, not this season, the season before, saying get rid of him.
Right. I mean,
it's
like you said, you're kind of vindicated going back to what you're saying from years ago. Quite frankly.
And I think, too, it's something that, as a fan, when you're frustrated with a player after a really bad year, you saw it with Jay Bouwmeester. You've seen it with Colton Parayko. You've seen it with Jordan Bennington. Like, one season and you're ready to write a guy off. Maybe you just got to take it. We say it all the time. The back of the card, the back of the baseball card, back of the hockey card. You got to look at the player as a whole.
Anthony.
Jamie.
And not just at the one season that they just had that might have been a down year. Because, if you're looking at just that one season that Colton Parayko had, everybody was saying trade him. But you look at his career overall, and last year was more like what he's done more often rather than just that one season.
This is why you cannot be a temperamental general manager or president of a sports team. You can't be trapped in the moment.
Nope.
Both ways. You can't have a player have one great season and pay him like he's had 10 great seasons. Mm-hmm. And you can't have a player have one bad season and treat it like he's had 5 in a row.
Yeah.
And that's the key to all of this. And when you look at a player like Colton Parayko, when you look at Doug Armstrong and the way he's managed certain things, you have to admire some of the patience at times. And I know people in St. Louis hate the word patience right now, and that's for another team here locally.
Hey-o.
But it's just, you have to understand what you have on your roster. And then the other tell, quite honestly, is when you get to your office every morning as the president or the GM, and you pick up the phone and you have several messages and emails from other teams that are trying to trade for this player. That should tell you immediately that you shouldn't trade this player.
The Rays are on the line.
Yeah, hang up!
And promote whatever player they're just asking for. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We got our biggest question of the day next.
End of May is here. We've got today and tomorrow. And right now at Londoff Chevrolet, they've got their May closeout special now through the end of the business day on Saturday. You can get a complimentary Johnny Londoff Care package with any vehicle purchase. Londoff Care includes 3 oil changes, 3 tire rotations, and 3 multi-point inspections. That's a value of $239. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic, Anthony. You can also receive $10,000 off Silverados, over 20 Chevy Trax that are still in stock. I've talked to you guys about this before. What an awesome little SUV. My son Braden drives one. It's got the new body style. It's got great electronics, big screen inside the car. I was blown away with how awesome those are, and those are really, really affordable vehicles. They also have 150 new vehicles, including the Equinoxes. How about the Chevy Blazer? They got 100 used cars right now in stock as well. And you can find all these vehicles over at the original location in Florissant, Missouri, or the brand new Londoff Autoplex out in St. Peters. They get tremendous customer service out there. We just read off all the stuff here to close out May. Don't hesitate. Get over there as soon as you possibly can before it's too late on Saturday. But if you can't get there in person, at least check out some of this inventory online. Visit them at londoff.com or londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Grant Francis here with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. A good win for the Cardinals yesterday in Cincinnati. They take the series with the Reds as they win the final game of that series 5-3. Yesterday, it was Andre Palante picking up the win. He went 6 innings. 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 3 walks. So a good showing for him yesterday. Cardinals will start a series with the Phillies tomorrow in Philadelphia. 5:40 will be the first pitch. Tonight here on 101 ESPN, we'll have the Eastern Conference Finals in the NHL. Rangers and Panthers Game 5. That series all tied up at 2 games apiece. Pre-game coverage will start at 6:30. I'm Grant Francis. The Sports Center update's been brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
All right, time for the biggest question of the day here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. Here's our guy, Grant Francis. pinch hitting for Andrew March today.
Yeah, guys. So Russell Wilson, quarterback for the Steelers, he talked about Justin Fields a little bit recently, also quarterback for the Steelers, and how Justin Fields, depending on how the quarterback battle goes, could potentially be dangerous in a slash role, meaning he could play some other positions. We've seen this a little bit in the NFL, rarely. Taysom Hill's an example. But what do you guys think about a player like Justin Fields going into a slash role?
Anthony, I know you love it, so I'll let you simmer a little bit here on Boyle.
Mm-hmm.
But I brought this up before. Would they consider using Justin Fields at the same time as Russell Wilson and either using him as a running back or even just a running back that lines up in the backfield but does the little flat pass out into the flat and you take it and run? It's probably a little less damaging on the body than trying to cut through the line of scrimmage, especially if you're not really used to it as a running back type thing. I didn't know that it would actually become a possibility. And I always joke about our guy in New Orleans, Taysom Hill, who, he does punt coverage. He plays offense, defense, plays everywhere. No, he doesn't play defense, I don't think. Well, punt coverage he does.
Yeah.
But what do you think of this experiment?
I think it's a dumb idea.
What?
So Taysom
Justin
Hill.
Fields one of the best running backs in the league last year.
Okay, so what does this say about Justin Fields then, right?
Can't throw.
Everybody is saying Justin Fields a year ago, MVP. Our very own Kerry Davis, all over Justin Fields, like promise. Here we go. Just needs a wide receiver. Gets DJ Moore. He's got a wide receiver, MVP. He doesn't improve. He doesn't take he improves maybe slightly in some areas, but ultimately though, he's not the guy. And what does everybody say? Well, there's not enough around him. Really? Really? Okay. So the Bears tell us flat out, he's not good enough. At least he's not good enough compared to what we could have in Caleb Jones. Or not Caleb Jones.
Caleb Jones? What?
We couldn't remember Taysom Hill's name. Unbelievable.
Seth Jones' brother.
Seth Jones' brother. So Seth Jones' brother will be under center for the Chicago Bears. Anyways,
Caleb Williams.
The Bears then send him. Thank you. The Bears then send Justin Fields to the Steelers for a 6th-round pick. So his market was not what everybody was expecting it to be, because people were like, "Oh, you get a 1st-round pick, or at least a 2nd-round pick, 6th-round pick he goes for."
Then why is that?
Mac Jones went for a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
So clearly, teams are telling us what he is. So the fact that they're exploring just using this guy as like a Cordell Stewart / position, that tells us a lot, right? But
yeah,
Taysom Hill's bigger. He's somebody that you can use at the goal line, somebody that could take a little bit of a beating. Justin Fields cannot. So I don't think it's necessarily smart from that standpoint. The other thing too, you have to install those plays, which means you have to work on them.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working on those plays, which is great, it's a little bit of time, you're not working on your base offense. So I think this is going to be all for naught when it's all said and done. Maybe you see a play or two, but this is not going to be a huge part of the Steelers' offense, I guarantee you.
See, I look at it a little differently, and I'm not saying it will be, Anthony. I have no idea, okay? But I believe that based on what the Steelers have at quarterback this year, I believe their offensive playbook is going to be rather simple. Mm-hmm. I think their game plan is going to be very direct. I don't think you're going to see a lot of complicated stuff from the Pittsburgh Steelers. That being said, I think you would allot you some time then to add a small package of plays where you have both quarterbacks out there. Like I envision, because Justin Fields had plenty of plays drawn up with the Chicago Bears where the snap goes right to him and boom, it's a running play. I could see him and Russell Wilson side by side behind center. You don't know who the hell's getting the snap. Snap goes to Justin Fields. It's a QB run. You got your play, just like you did all last year, Justin Fields. Just go get yardage.
Yeah.
I could also see where it's snapped to Russell Wilson, who hands it off to Justin Fields, who passes the ball down the field now because you have two quarterbacks in play. Mm-hmm. Or Justin Fields, you think it's a run, but it's a pitch to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson now throws it downfield to an open receiver. I think it opens the door to some possibilities that aren't as awful as we're picturing of him being like a regular running back and things like that.
Yeah.
You can call them trick plays, or you could call it a package of plays where you have two quarterbacks on the field, which could be pretty damn unique. It could be pretty confusing for some defensive schemes from their coordinators. If you don't know which quarterback's actually going to get the ball or throw it down the field, it's tough. And with Justin Fields having the ability to take a broken play, if for some reason, and turn it into yardage because he can run the ball, I don't hate the idea.
Yeah.
But that's just if you're able to do that.
Yeah, right. If you can sprinkle in some of those plays, we're on the same page with that. I think what some people are envisioning is like this great package of plays, like for Taysom Hill. I don't envision that at all.
I actually think your playbook, your package of plays could be expanded to more than what Taysom Hill does.
Yeah, because Justin Fields should be a better passer.
Should be. Should. Yeah. It's a big word.
So should Caleb Jones.
Caleb Jones. He's not a great passer.
No.
Caleb
Jones, idiot. At right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. No Cardinals tonight, so no lineup game, no beat the streak.
No, we got Bet the Board, though.
We got Bet the Board,
Bet the Board coming up. And
come on, though. By the way, speaking of the Bears and Caleb Williams, Hard Knocks. They're going to be on HBO's Hard Knocks. Yeah. I think that's great. The Bears being good is good for the NFL. I mean, we talked about. I'd made the comment earlier about Connor McJesus having an opportunity to potentially win a Stanley Cup. I mean, you're talking about a Canadian team, one of the best, most exciting players in the NHL. You want him at that level. It's good for hockey. The Bears being good is good for the NFL. Rich history, all that. Granted, not a rich history of winning outside of 85, but
yeah, but they won a lot that year.
Yeah. Not known for quarterback play. Wide receivers,
Don't you talk bad about Jim McMahon.
He was there.
Won a Super Bowl.
He did. He did win a Super Bowl. Rex Grossman got him to a Super Bowl. It's amazing to me that certain, and maybe we could do this for I don't know, any sport. But isn't it amazing that certain franchises cannot develop certain things? The Bears cannot develop a quarterback.
Who was their last quarterback to be of relevance?
Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Unless you consider
never liked him.
Mitchie football.
No, it's not Mitchie. Jay Cutler, I never liked him personally, but that doesn't erase the fact that he was a pretty good quarterback.
He was, yeah. He was. He always reminded me a lot of Jeff George. I mean,
making it worse.
An absolute cannon, but not the not the best leader at times. Who's
the best quarterback in Bears history?
I mean, do you have to go with Jim McMahon just because he won a Super Bowl?
I don't know if you go with him. I don't think his numbers would be great.
No.
He had a pretty good year. Now, the Bears were stacked. They had some good wide receivers on that team. They had Walter Payton.
Right.
They had a lot of stuff going for them.
Including their defense.
Well, the defense was incredible.
Yeah.
But I just sitting here, your question about the Bears quarterback position made me just think to myself, is Jay Cutler maybe the best quarterback by numbers?
Jay Cutler, yeah.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
He is the all-time passing leader for the Bears.
There you go.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I think I've told this story on air before, but I got tickets to go see the Falcons when I was at Central Michigan. I got tickets to go see the Falcons when they're still playing in the Georgia Dome, and I had a bunch of friends that were they went to the University of Georgia, so went down there, stayed with them, partied with them on Friday and Saturday night. But they had tickets to the UGA game that Saturday, and they were playing Vanderbilt. And I'm like, cool, first time between the hedges, I get to see stupid-ass Vanderbilt, right?
You telling me this story, yes.
I'm watching, I'm like, this Vanderbilt team stinks. That quarterback, though, he's got an absolute cannon. It was Jay Cutler. He had just a rocket launcher. And you could tell then he was going to be something. And wound up going to, Denver, first-round pick. He had a good career.
He had a solid career.
Didn't win anything, but he had a good career.
Yeah.
You want to know something interesting? I wouldn't have guessed this. How many more yards do you think Jay Cutler has than Jim McMahon?
How many more yards? So what does Cutler have?
Cutler has 23,443.
For the Bears?
Yes.
I would say 10,000 more than Jim McMahon.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, Jim McMahon had 11,203, so he's got over 10,000 more yards. And Jim McMahon played a lot fewer games, but if you look at yards per game, Cutler had 229, McMahon had 169.
But okay, so
how many touchdown passes for each of them?
Touchdown passes for each of them, 154 for Cutler, 67 for Jim McMahon.
Yeah, well, Jim McMahon, the huge part of their offense was the running game,
right.
too.
Well, I was going to say, so the Bears, they can't figure out quarterbacks, right? But then this organization has had unbelievable running backs. Gale Sayers, Walter Payton. I mean, even in later years, like Matt Forte was a really good, not that he compared to those two guys, but Matt Forte was a really good back for them. I don't know. That's weird. It's weird that certain organizations just can't figure out certain
Jay Cutler is the top of your food chain. No disrespect to Jay Cutler, but that name isn't like Peyton Manning. It's not a John Elway. It's not like Joe Montana. It's not that.
Yeah, like the passing leaders for each team.
That would be Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino.
We have time here.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Phil Simms even.
When Jay Cutler is a tiebreaker on the Gauntlet, you guys better not mess that
up. No kidding.
Oh, no. That's foreshadowing right there.
I want to see NFL passing leaders by team. So let's see here. So you got Tom Brady for the Patriots, obviously. Drew Brees for the Saints. Peyton Manning for the Colts. Brett Favre for the Packers. Ben Roethlisberger for the Steelers. Phillip Rivers for the Chargers. Matt Ryan for the Falcons. Dan Marino for the Dolphins. Rodgers would be behind Favre.
Yeah.
Eli Manning for the Giants. Stafford for the Lions. Elway for the Broncos. Warren Moon for the Oilers. Warren Moon was like my favorite quarterback growing up.
It's funny, too, because he went to the CFL for a number of years.
He did.
And then came down to the NFL to dominate.
Yep. Fran Tarkenton for the Vikings. To your point, these names are
legendary.
Eventually, you get to the Bears as Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler.
It's amazing. All right, it's a Fast Line on 101 ESPN. Bet the board, 3 stars of the day. Criticisms, compliments, all coming at you next.
NBA playoffs have been exciting, and the finals are right around the corner. But if you're a basketball fan and you're a FanDuel fan, it's not too late to get in on the action. And how about this? If you're a new customer to FanDuel, you will get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Anthony, it's a great deal.
It certainly is.
It's a fantastic deal. And let's say you want to jump in on some futures bets. Maybe you're going to pick the Celtics to win, or maybe Jason Tatum to get the MVP and win. There's so many possibilities of FanDuel.
Well, they've got different combinations too, like you're describing, right? So you can take the NBA Finals, or where they're wrapping up the Western Conference Finals, and you could do certain parlays with the teams and players. They've got, of course, the same game parlays for those games, live betting. It's all available at FanDuel, but you do have to get signed up. Just go to FanDuel.com/fast to get started. Again, FanDuel.com/fast to get started. Then you get the $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in Illinois. First online real money wager. Only $10 first deposit required. Bonus distributed non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Time to bet the board, but before we do that, don't forget you can download the podcast if you miss anything from today's show. Available at 101ESPN.com, your 101 ESPN mobile app. We chatted with, and by the way, that's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, of course. We talked to Craig Berube today. We talked to Jacob Saylors, running back of the Battlehawks, and that Craig Berube interview is going to be aired again for our instant replay show, 6 to 6:30 tonight ahead of the Rangers-Panthers pregame at 6:30. But you'll hear that Craig Berube interview immediately after our show again today. All right, boys, time to bet the board here.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't get anything from CD or Marsh, correct?
That is correct.
Oh. All right, so...
Oh, actually, no. Marsh did send us one.
He did?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to...
Okay, what's the requirements for the line?
Minus 150 or less.
So this one that Marsh sent me on FanDuel at least is minus 160.
And that's the only thing we use is FanDuel around here.
Yes, of course. So. The official sports betting partner of the NBA.
So Marshy will get what we give him then, Anthony.
Yes. What was his play?
It was Vincent Trocheck over 2.5 shots. So to record 3+ shots is minus 160.
Yeah.
Now,
Sorry.
He's trying to cheat, and we don't allow that.
I had one at 155 one time, and they did not let me use it.
That's correct.
So,
man,
tough but fair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, am I up? I lost last night.
Marshy's up, but we're going to have to figure that out for him.
He's up?
He's first, isn't he? Or you're first?
I don't know. I don't know what the latest standings are.
Standings are, Anthony, you're 11-8. Marsh is 10-8.
Okay, so you go first, Anthony. Go ahead.
Sorry, Jamie. I'm going to take the Florida Panthers tonight, minus 128. Florida Panthers to get it done at MSG tonight.
You're a bit of a jerk all day today, but that really was the cherry on top.
Yeah, but I gave you the little dance there, so.
Yeah,
that's for
having a seizure, quite honestly.
Well, I'm white, so.
That's where you reach in
and
and grab your tongue.
Mm-hmm. Don't swallow that.
Okay, I'm going something a little different tonight. I'm going to go with an over-under on a points total. The total is 0.5.
You're good at this.
And tonight, I'm going to switch it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Matthew Tkachuk with the over.
Now, Jamie, who'd you go with the other night?
Matthew Tkachuk. Okay. And it hit.
So you have Matthew Tkachuk to score a point?
Yep, 1 point.
That is minus 192.
Where?
On the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Oh, the son of a gun.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
I mean, guys.
My bad.
If we're trying to cheat the system, it's just don't.
All right. I've got another one then. I got Brandon Montour. The over is plus 135. So I can take that.
Score a point?
Yeah, to score 1 point. He's a quarterback on the power play. Guy shoots a puck all the time. This guy's gold.
Done deal.
Good goal.
Oh, see what you did there. All right, Grant. So what are you going to give Marsh, and what are you going to give Kerry Davis?
All right, well, I was going to stick with a shot total for Marshy, since that's what he was trying to go with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to go with... Let's go with our guy Vladdy to have at least 2 shots on goal tonight.
Okay.
All right, I like that play.
That one is at minus 120.
Okay.
So you're going that for Marsh?
Yes.
Okay.
Marsh.
And for CD?
I got to produce 2 here?
No, we'll give CD the...
give me a second, I can do it.
Well, he's going to go with the Dallas Mavericks plus 5.
That's something he would do.
He'd probably do that.
He likes the NBA. We'll give him Dallas Mavericks.
All right.
Plus 5. All right, Grant. Why don't you give us some criticisms and some compliments?
All right. Well, we had an absolute ton of compliments when our guy Chief was on the line.
Oh, yeah.
One of them from the 314. Tell Chief that the whole St. Louis city misses him and wishes him well, except against us.
Yes, of course.
I would agree
naturally.
But
he's awesome. He's such an awesome person.
I can't stand the Maple Leafs in general.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I find myself now rooting for them, except against the Blues.
Fair enough.
I want Chief to do well in Toronto.
So remind me again, Momsy was Maple Leafs.
Montreal Canadiens.
Canadiens.
Yeah.
Okay.
How'd she feel about the hiring?
I wish I don't know if I can pull it up here, but Momsy, old Mama Rivers, chimed in when when Chief got hired, and she said it was pretty damn funny. She goes, something about, you're going to have to cheer for the, you better cheer for the Leafs now after they hired Craig Berube. Basically alluding to the fact that I'd get my ass kicked.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's fair. So that was Mama Rivers. That was her take on that one.
Well, good.
All right, from Lisa, this was right after Craig Berube came on at 3 o'clock. We started talking about John Mozeliak and some comments he made about ownership. Lisa said, Berube to Mo, okay. Is this a lesson on one extreme to the other with communication skills?
Wow. Lisa from the top rope. Okay.
Doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise me either. Yeah. There you go, Lisa.
We were also talking about the ownership, and we brought up Jamie owning some businesses. The 6-1 Hate had a comment, said, is Jamie a billionaire?
No.
Not yet. Or ever, for that matter. But
you never know, Jamie. You keep working hard.
And that was in reference to, like you said, I was talking about how the DeWitts have a certain budget. They have certain things that they control as far as cost and decisions.
Right.
Because, you know, Anthony, people who own businesses are allowed to make money, even if they're billionaires. Because quite honestly, how do you think they became billionaires?
Right.
To where my comment was, if the 6-1 Hate owned a company, would he rather spend more money than he makes? And if so, how many years would he be in business? Not long.
No.
That was my point.
I got it, Jamie.
The 314. This was when we were talking about if we had given the front office enough credit for their pitching additions this year. From 314, you liar. You guys hated Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. You guys trashed them all winter long.
That's not true. We didn't trash them on this show. I know Randy trashed
Sonny Gray.
A couple other people trashed Lance Lynn.
So if we don't bow at the altar of the Cardinals, sometimes some of you people think like we're trashing them.
I know I never hated the Gibson one, strictly because I like Kyle Gibson as a human being. He's an unbelievable dude, and I would not trash him before seeing him play for the Cardinals, so that's off the list. I may have given it to Lance Lynn about his ability to cover first base.
Sure. I thought the signings were fine. And I've said that they have pitched better than I expected. But I never trashed the signings.
No. I don't think we did.
Whatever.
Prove it.
All right, last criticism here, because we had several people chiming in during the Gauntlet saying that they thought DJ Patty Cakes was Googling the answers. Now, he was taking some time in between some answers, but I never thought that he was Googling answers.
Yeah, you could typically tell when somebody's cheating. I don't think DJ Patty Cakes was cheating.
Now, guys,
he was taking his time, but
in my years of being involved with the Gauntlet, the biggest hell for me is when somebody rereads the question, because a lot of times they'll have their thumb on the Siri or whatever it is, and they'll reread the question, which puts it into the phone, and then it pulls it up.
But wouldn't Siri say something? Or
well, you have the volume down.
Okay, got it.
So I'm just saying, that's a direct tell.
Yeah, I don't think DJ Patty Cakes was doing that. All
I
right,
don't think
Grant,
so either.
great job, man. You're going to be back tomorrow, right?
Yes, I will.
There you go. That's for Grant Francis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Instant replays next. See you.